Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Thursday night. It is time for revolutionary change. I'm Jen Perelman.
I'm Peter Hager, and a good evening to you.
Hello.
What's new in the world of Upper Georgia, I guess I would say.
Oh, it's so good here. It's winter. I am having winter.
Well, winter does exist in Florida too, you know. It does get
Not
pretty
where
cold.
I live.
Well,
Not
no.
where I live. I'm all tangled.
Oh, yeah. Get your keffiyeh right.
I cannot. I'm so tangled. I'm not happy now. All right. So I'm so discombobulated.
Your lighting's not as effective as mine. I don't know what that's
Well, my lighting is a situation here because what I've been using isn't working, and so I'm using something else. So your lighting is good.
Yeah, I figured out how to get my central lighting working again, so it looks like I look halfway decent for a change. I was having like an angle from one side, having it from another side, so we're front and center. We're ready to go. Hope you guys are all doing great this evening. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure that you share the stream. We are going to have our wonderful guests, Mel and Janine. Let me gotta say their podcast name again correctly. I want to make sure that I get this right. They are the co-hosts of Previously Prohibited podcast. They will join us at the top of the hour. We're going to talk about the Donald. We're going to talk about Epstein. We're going to talk about Mr. What was his name? Frank Underwood, also known as Pedo Spacey. Yes, that's one of many. And of course, the dancing Israelis in Thailand.
What happened to Rothbone? Did something happen to Rothbone?
I don't know. Guys, what happened to Rothbone?
I don't know.
What happened to our friend? If something happened, tell us. This is up to the minute stuff, and hopefully it's not anything bad. But we obviously appreciate you all being here this evening. And of course, we've said for a while that everything that we talk about is centered on the dismantling of the Zionist state and what it means to actually fight back against this problem. And we've tried to explain for a long time because a lot of people look around and say, man, these are such, they're such, okay, well, there you go. Looks like we might have to join them on Twitch at some point. We'll see. We're making a switch from Twitch. You see that rhymed?
Well, we are streaming on Twitch right now.
Technically, yes.
Technically, but we have we don't have any big platform there, but we really need to be getting over to TikTok. We need to be streaming on TikTok.
Well, hey, listen, I instructed our crew to take care of that, and I believe it's been
I don't know how it's done. I don't understand. So,
well, don't get me started. I'm biting my tongue right now. When we talk about everyone who looks around and wonders, well, how did the Zionist state become so overwhelmingly strong within our culture that we didn't see it? We don't understand why these people who seem to be very judgmental, egotistical, nasty, supremacist, genocidal. And yet for some reason, we can't seem to shake them like a bad cold. There's a reason for that. Because they control, in many respects, again, it's a stereotype, but it's a true stereotype. They control so much of the financial infrastructure in our country. Hence why, when it comes to our major social media platforms, as we have seen over the past 2 years, they can make very decisive moves without consulting anybody other than a small circle of people who have very exceptional vested interest in seeing the Zionist state succeed. And one of those people who doesn't get talked about nearly enough because so much attention gets drawn, particularly to Elon with X, is Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook, aka Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram. And so this little doozy, which is apparently not being shared in too many places, but is now, Colin, can you please blow that up? It is the fourth most censored story of the year, which is at the direction of the Israeli government. Meta launched the largest coordinated censorship campaign in modern history. Now, would you care to guess when that started? I think most people would agree that it's not hard to figure out that shortly thereafter, October 7th, there has been a censorship campaign at a level that I don't think many people truly contemplate. It's in the tens of millions of blocked commentary.
Now, I only saw this on Instagram, by the way. Like, this came up on my Instagram feed, and I forwarded it to you. So I'm like, okay, this looks important. But then when I looked into it, I couldn't find any like substantive articles. So it's really interesting. So I'm thankful that Project Censored addresses this.
I don't know if Dropsite News has any articles behind a paywall. It is certainly possible that this may have been, but I believe that that is the only other reputable site that I'm aware of that actually covered this story in any capacity. But remember, we are living in an ever more present censorship age where just about everything that we talk about is subject to being removed. Or in the case of our channel covering Hin Rajab's story, just having it not only removed, but penalizing our channel and putting us basically in timeout, as Jen likes to say, which they tend to do every once in a while, depending on their mood. And so this is an example here where Meta undertakes sweeping crackdown of Facebook and Instagram posts at Israel's request. Well, my first question is, why is Meta taking any advice whatsoever from anything that is coming out of Israel? What do they have to do with how we run our country? But as we've pointed out, anyone who has seen the movie Network from many years before, the elites do not believe in countries or borders. They just believe in the bottom line. And if the bottom line is best suited to facilitate whatever Israel is up to, then that's what they will do. You want to talk about the most traitorous people to the United States of America? The people who run the country. They hate America and the idea of what this country is supposed to be more than anybody. That's why our lives are as miserable as they are.
They don't have countries. Capital doesn't have countries. Capital is global. These oligarchs are invested all over the world. It doesn't matter. Right now, United States, we're the global hegemon right now. We have the currency right now for who knows how much longer. But when that shifts, these oligarchs and the capital class, that's global. This is a global situation. They don't give a crap about borders. They just, you know, they're all diversified.
Looks like your old friend is involved in some riffraff nonsense.
1R, 1L.
I don't know what that means, but
what does what mean?
1R, 1L. 1R, 1L.
Her name.
That. Okay. Maybe that was intentional. I don't know.
I don't know. What?
Yeah, but that shouldn't surprise anybody. Since October 2023, Meta has acted on 94% of the Israeli government's requests to take down 94%. 94% of the time. When Israel says, take down this post, okay, I'll do it. That are critical of Israel or even vaguely supportive of Palestine. So how about that? They are more concerned not with whether you're criticizing Israel. They're concerned with that for sure. But they're even more concerned with you saying Palestine, supporting Palestine. That concerns them more than anything else.
G. Needler, agreed. Sorry about that.
I didn't even catch it. But
well, it was a comment to not refer to these capital assholes as elites because they are not better than us. They're predatory. They're the predators. They're the predator class. Let's call it that. I agree.
And at the very bottom, as of November 2025, corporate media has not covered this story once. But no surprise.
That's amazing. I mean,
Not
no,
really.
it's not. No,
No,
it's not. I don't know why I'm even
it's
surprised. I'm
expected.
not.
In fact, if they did cover it, that would be the more surprising element. And one more, Colin. Drop site news characterized Meta's response to the Israeli government's takedown request campaign, which resulted in an estimated 38.8 million posts being removed, banned, or suppressed, as the largest mass censorship operation in modern history. You can rest assured that some of our content is definitely a part of that.
But people need to understand. So when we look at people, like we always talk about Stephen Miller as like Goebbels and the propaganda and that how they spin everything and how we're so filtered and all of that. But this isn't a party thing. This isn't a party thing. It's all of them. It's all of them. It is just, we are in such an information bubble in this country. I'm telling you, we're like the Truman Show here.
Well, the way I see it, not everyone is awake, but those that are never going back to sleep and are aware of their tactics, what they employ, such as mass censorship across the board. And as a result, we will continue to suffer as a channel as a result of that. But that's okay. Today, we got lucky. Today, we had a clip go viral.
We did?
Yeah.
Which one?
The one about the rabbi at the synagogue in New York City basically saying how, we're going to have to deal with Zoran if he gets out of line. Yeah. At least he's telling the truth. I mean, we know they will try something. But I said, for anybody, whether they like Zoran or not, if he does nothing but end the city contracts between New York and Israel, I mean, you could build a statue for him right now. I'll believe it when I see it. But as much as $13+ billion, billion with a B, annually is invested between Israel and New York City. You fuck with that.
How much is invested between the state of California and Israel?
I don't know. But Wall Street is the financial capital of the world. And so it's not surprising that much money is moving between Tel Aviv and New York City on an annual basis. So if you think about how long this charade's been going on for multiple generations, it's in the hundreds of billions, if not probably bordering on the trillions of dollars now. So as a result, if Zoran does even attempt to go down this road, he has to protect himself, because that is how you get killed.
How did we get onto Zoran? We were talking about the Meta story, and you see, this is how it goes.
No, we're talking about the financial impact of getting in the way of Israel's project. That's why the censorship is as rampant as it is. So if you even attempt to get in the way of that money train, well, you'll find out very quickly how people end up getting eliminated. I still maintain that that's the reason why Charlie was eliminated, because he bit the hand that fed him for many years. He decided he didn't want to be party to what they were up to anymore. He decided, I can go out and do it on my own. And the people who got him there said, no, you're not. You're not going anywhere. And he refused. And well, you know what happened.
And I think the bigger point about the Meta story is that we are so censored and controlled by three companies that control what we can see, what we can say, all of these things. And it's really scary. I think it's really scary. And Meta is, obviously big, but it's Google, it's whatever it is. And these companies, they're predatory.
Which is why social media, for me anyway, is strictly used for business purposes. I can't get bogged down. I would say the only thing that brings me joy, and I can thank Meta at least for this, just watching dogs, basically.
I forward you so many good dog videos.
Yeah, and I find my own too. But
I'm just saying, yeah, that's the only benefit of any of that. And I'm not even on social media other than my business account.
And therein lies the rub. If all social media was just about cute dogs having fun, well, we probably wouldn't get any work done. That's all we would be caught up in. But in many ways, it's our greatest asset and it's our greatest detriment at the same time. But when you start using it for the right reasons, and the powers that be don't like that, they're going to take it away from you. They're going to take away a lot of things from us. And that also includes a story that also is not getting any proper attention. For me personally, obviously, especially in the line of work that I'm in and the, let's just say, very long year that I've had, the end of this government shutdown is actually very important for me personally. But there was a little sleight of hand, as there often is, with a lot of these must-pass bills. Some amendments get stuck.
Yeah. So were you aware of this little nugget?
I was, of course not. Why would I be? Why would anyone ever announce the fact that one of the, when you think about the greatest creations, whether by God or by nature, however it was done, but when you think about the power of hemp and what that means and what it can do, what it's capable of doing.
Do you have the clip I sent you about that?
Colin?
I don't know what all this, like there's so much stuff on here that we didn't even talk about, but then I don't see this thing.
Got it.
Okay, so while everybody was rightfully worried about the shutdown for financial purposes, and of course the Dems, I don't even like to say caved because they really didn't care to begin with. That it was all theater. The Democrats could not care less about your health care.
If they did, they would support single payer.
Well, they would have, and again, they would be fighting about these things on the regular and trying to improve our material conditions, which they don't unless they know they can't win, and then they make some pathetic theatrical attempt. So in this bill that was just signed is a very interesting thing that prohibits THC and hemp products.
Why
very
would
under the radar? So yeah, this is very interesting.
Why would anybody do such a thing? Why would the powers that be care so much about suppressing hemp? What would be the reason? Could it be because hemp is one of the key ingredients to getting away from fossil fuels? Could it be that hemp is a very inexpensive alternative for growing crops and getting protein without having to kill animals and,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You don't like it when I do my thing.
Sorry. No, do your thing. I'm sorry.
The overwhelming power of hemp when it comes to getting away from fossil fuels, when it comes to getting away from livestock, overabundance in agriculture. And then, of course, hemp is also an alternative to things like pharma, alcohol.
That's what I was going to say, more of that.
Powers that be can't have that. So rather than allow the free market of ideas, because as I said, I believe in the free market, the powers that be do not believe in a free market. And if you are foolish enough to believe them when they say that they do, trust me when I tell you. Jen, do you have your graphic of, I would call them the Three Stooges, but it's the four, I don't know, the four horsemen of the apocalypse, I guess, or the four oligarch horsemen of the apocalypse?
Yeah, I have them somewhere. Where's, yeah, but I don't know if I have the new one.
Available, just grab one. The best one.
I'm having technical problems.
All right, then we'll have to circle back to it. But
yeah,
just remember, Bill Gates does not want you to have good things. Elon Musk does not want you to have good things. Mark Zuckerberg does not want you to have good things. And of course, the worst one of them all, Jeff Bezos does not want you to have good things. But he's busy shooting off 2 rockets to Mars right now as we speak. I also love watching the people suck him off. Wow, look at the Blue Origin heading over to Mars. We're all going to die.
We're all going to die.
Here's the real deal about what's going on with him.
Yeah.
and your seltzers. Because tucked away in the new funding bill is language that would affect or regulate the use of THC and hemp products. It would prevent the unregulated sale of these hemp-derived products, so sales in convenience stores and gas stations, which would hugely impact industries in like Texas and Minnesota and Wisconsin. So weird that the Republicans claim to be this party of states' rights, but they keep undoing states' rights. Which leads me to the real purpose of this video. And by the way, I filmed this yesterday, but I have refilmed it to include this section because I think it all relates. Is these 6 Democrats that caved yesterday and aligned themselves with the Republicans. Again, we are not counting Fetterman. He is clearly not aligned with the Democratic Party. As a millennial, I've engaged in my fair share of therapy. And one of the terms I learned in therapy is the term over-functioning. So it's
Well, she looks like she's over-functioning at the moment. Let me just remind you people, if in case we have to keep reminding you, there will always be an impediment to success, no matter what. Always. If it's not Joe Lieberman, it's Joe Manchin. If it's not Joe Manchin, it's Kirsten Sinema. If it's not Kirsten Sinema, it's John Fetterman. And eventually it will be somebody else, like Maggie Hassan. Who cares? So when they say, oh, if only we didn't have this person working against us. No, fool. They're all working against you. They all have a role to play. And if you still believe that this is a game that can be won, well, stay on the hamster wheel, because I'm off it. And we all should.
I'm not understanding why she's going off on a tangent. I thought this was about the THC in the part in the bill. I don't know what.
Well, maybe it is, but we'll continue.
That's what I thought this was.
The idea that you take on responsibilities that should be in somebody else's lane, right? Like you overfunction for them to simplify the process for maybe everybody involved, but ultimately you are taking on additional responsibilities for whatever reason. And in doing that, eventually you will cause yourself burnout. You will become resentful because again, these are not your tasks and responsibilities to undertake. And this is exactly what the Democratic Party does to voters, activists, and content creators. And there is no better example of the Democrats' reliance on overfunctioning than what just happened in the Senate, where effectively 6 real Democrats aligned with Republicans in order to reopen the federal government to get SNAP benefits and a promise that we might someday consider ACA subsidies. Which has led to a few crash out videos by Tim Kaine and a lot of you calling this man a villain. And while I think his decision was a really bad one, it's a bad choice, I'm not going to stand in front of you and act like this man's an AIPAC shill. That's absurd. I'm going to redirect you to Elizabeth Booker Houston to talk about the nuances involved because that's really important. That's not what my central focus is in this message, but you should go watch her video because it's important to this. And because y'all have the attention span of toddler with ADHD and a sugar high, I'm going to stop here and take you into part 2 where I further explain why the Democratic Party relies on the
This one's so far off on a tangent. The only thing I wanted to discuss.
Way to go, Jen. You should have watched the video before you had me play it.
I just wanted to talk about the THC issue, that there is now a prohibition that they just slipped in there about THC and hemp products. And that is something that's going to affect a lot of people. And it's not even something that was being discussed.
I feel bad for people that are wound up emotionally, psychologically, as this girl indicated that she was, because this system will drive you insane, especially if you think anybody's really on your side. They're not. I'm sorry. Like I said, the only reason why I hold out any hope whatsoever for Zoran is because he actually is indicating that he's willing to challenge power in a way that no one else is talking about. If he goes after Israel's city contracts in New York City, that is real change, like massive change. But you're not going to hear anybody else talking about that. And therein lies the difference. You don't hear anybody saying, you're not going to F with hemp. Hemp is to be left alone, and if people want to use it, they can use it.
I think it's for CBD. I don't think it's for that it applies to the states that have medicinal or recreational cannabis. I think it's for the CBD industry that we're talking about. But at the end of the day, it impacts the hemp industry, which could be one of our best assets.
You see, that's the type of teaching that we have in this country. Hemp is, if anything, hemp is a wonder drug, if you want to call it that, because of all of its wonderful uses. It's got an incredible amount of value. In fact, it is considered an energy source that Nikola Tesla thought was going to be capable of being a substitute for petroleum. Now, we all know what happened to Tesla, and we know what happened with Rockefeller, and this is how history evolves. For so very long, it's all about who has the power to command the most amount of profit. It's not about what's right for humanity. That's why when, oh, Lou, she's so cute, stumbling into the camera.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure what, yeah. I mean, I don't really know what exactly that. I thought that was the sort of summation of what was going on with the THC and the hemp. But yeah, I don't understand what that has to do with reopening the government and what that has to do with slipping that in.
Well,
it's just, you know,
the purpose of doing that more than anything else, they know that the people are getting restless, but it's like they're daring the populace to rise up and create a revolution. When you do not allow people any alternatives to what has been presented to them, it's a one-party system. You're either part of the oligarchic monopoly that is our corporate system, or you are in the minority in terms of any type of influence. But maybe it'll change. Maybe it won't. I see a lot of people questioning whether alliances really can be formed and can last with people that you normally wouldn't be, let's say, doing business with because of their position on Israel, perhaps on other positions not the same. But what I will say is that if we are able to nip this in the bud permanently, then real change will happen. Because the one thing that the powers that be always count on is that the people will never band together. There are too many differences. They will always have a way to distract people. That's been the way that it's been for a very long time, but I'm not convinced it's going to continue to last. I just don't think people are having it anymore. And that's why we may not be the biggest channel out there, but we definitely have the type of channel that, just knowing our chat, we have everybody. We have everybody across the political spectrum, except those. Thank you, S. Kolachuk. I like our channel too. I think we're doing okay. The only people who really don't watch our channel are shit libs and Zion-Nazis. That's about it.
They hate watch.
I'm telling you right now, I don't care what anybody says. Randy Fine hate watches our channel just like Debbie Wasserman Schultz does.
I don't think so. I don't think Debbie necessarily watches, but she has one of her people just sort of keep an eye out. I'm sure of it. And I'm sure
running against me again. That freaking Jew traitor. Is she running against me again? That's how it feels.
All right, what are we covering now? What are we getting into? Because you're going off.
I am not going off. You know what it is? You're just off tonight. I don't know what's going on.
You're just so pontificating. You're just going off. I'm not even sure what the topic is anymore.
Jen, you got to learn to just go with the flow.
It's not Andy Fine, it's Randy Fine, and there's a very big difference. Andy Fine was an incredibly cute boy that was a year ahead of us in school.
Was he fine?
Very.
This, in many ways, sums up the desperation of the state of Israel. I just want to throw this out there.
This is how they want to, this is what they want to do with their resources. They're grasping at straws. They've run out of ideas. When you have to put your message on low-flying blimp, you're out of ideas.
You've run out of ideas, guys.
They really have. This is absurd. Also, I believe the new Florida Israel license plates are officially out there on the road now.
No. Are you kidding me?
No. If you want, you can look it up and put it up there. There is now, for people who don't realize, Florida has a ton of different license plates. It's a money making thing. So different organizations, different causes have their Florida plates that you pay extra. So universities have it, teams, whatever. And there is now an official Florida Stands with Israel license plate. And I have not seen one in person yet. I am currently in North Georgia, so I probably wouldn't see that for a while. But when I'm home, I have a little something special planned for the first time and second and third that I see those parked in a parking lot.
Mm.
Oh, yes. Yes. I have something planned for those. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing one parked somewhere. Yes, they now have license plates.
The irony of using a blimp. The whole Zeppelin, Nazis, they're just telling on themselves.
I'm telling, they have money and they are out of ideas. They've bought all the media. It's still not working.
No.
So maybe a blimp will help.
Yeah. Right over Rockefeller Center, guys. It is the holiday season in New York, and this is their way of, and let me assure you, this is not the last time they're going to do something like this. This is going to be consistent. But like I said, wait till Zoran starts messing with the city contracts with Israel. You're going to see Zios on the skating rink at Rockefeller lying on the ground like they're dead. And Rabbi Shmuley is going to lead the demonstration. That's my prediction.
He's so disgusting. Shmuley is such a disgusting pig of a person.
You can swing from that nose of his. How do you get, what happens when a Jew with an erection runs into a wall? Come on, you know this one.
I do, and I find that's just stupid.
It's funny.
It isn't, though.
You gotta learn to laugh.
No, I don't find that funny. I find that stupid.
Well, speaking of stupid, we are stuck with a president right now for. I know you don't think he's going to last.
No.
Your prediction is he's not going to last.
No. I don't think he's going to live to the end of his term.
He's not going to live till the end of his term.
No.
Interesting. Well, I'm not convinced either that he's going to last all the way through.
Oh, you think they're going to 25th Amendment him?
Considering how this interview with Laura Ingraham actually ended up going, as badly as it could possibly have gone, which you'll now see, it's not going to surprise me. This was a crash out that really will have people questioning how much longer he can actually go, because it was as bad as it could possibly be.
Because that gives that person an immediate boost. It's like when they say, are you going to attack Venezuela? Are you going to attack this one? Are you going to attack? Yeah. I say, I'm not going to tell you whether or not I am. So I don't want to really give you, but I think this. We are doing phenomenally well. This is the greatest economy we've ever had.
Really? The greatest ever? Did you see the jobs report this past month? Not good. Totally not good.
Well, he just fires the people that have bad reports. Didn't he fire like an entire department because he didn't like the economic report?
Listen, I totally read the reports. I can read. I'm not illiterate. I know what I saw. This is the greatest economy in the history of the world. And because I say so, that is so. And you understand that as well as anybody. So what I'm going to do is I am going to allow my unhinged self make a few statements, and then I'm going to correct myself with the actual truth because I had time to think about it. That seems pretty fair.
Their talking points, of course they're high, of course they're high. By the way, the only thing is beef. Beef
coffee
is a little high because the ranchers are doing great. Coffee, we're going to lower some tariffs. We're going to have some coffee come in.
Really, we're going to have that coffee come right in from Colombia and Venezuela.
Well, but what does he think is going to happen to that and that system when we start a war with Venezuela? What's going to happen with that? You think that Colombia is going to help us You think Colombia is going to want to do, like, he's not functioning.
The problem is that he did have a strong economy for many periods of time during his first term. And when things are going well,
based on what?
Based on well, again, the economy is bad for everybody. Good for the people that, again, we're still an 80-20 society. That doesn't change anything. But now it's basically becoming like a 95-5 type situation. The point I'm making is that when the perception that's being thrown out there, I'm not, again, wipe that grin off your face. Just hear me out. If the perception is that the economy is doing okay or is doing well, however they're phrasing it, speaking in generalities, you can get away with that shit. The economy, by every metric, is doing bad. And then to make it worse, let's shut the government down for almost 2 months. That's smart. That'll definitely fix the problem. And as soon as they lift the shutdown, he's immediately on TV. This is the greatest economy in the history of the world. There is not a single, even the people in MAGA who are paid fucking money to sell this bullshit. I'm looking at you, Gunther Eagleman, and Wall Street Apes, and Benny Johnson, and even you, Tim Pool, and Dave Rubin, and I can go on and on. You sell sassafras, whoever the hell you are, whoever you people are. We know you're paid. My point is, even they know this is bullshit. They know it's bullshit, but it doesn't matter because the emperor has no clothes.
But they keep telling him he looks great, right?
Because
like
they're getting
that's
paid.
what we're seeing. The emperor has no clothes, and he's surrounded by a whole bunch of toadies that tell him he looks great. I think he gets crappy intel. I think he's told that whatever it is that the people, want him to know. I think that he's ridiculous. I think he is also suffering from a certain amount of dementia. And it's just a matter of if they're going to 25th Amendment him, let me just say this, then they better do it before the midway point. See, I think he's not going to live to the end of this term. He has several things that are really going poorly for him right now physically.
We're going to take care of all this stuff very quickly, very easily. It's surgical. It's beautiful to watch. But our costs are way lower. Now, Walmart came out with a statement that they do every year for many, many decades. And they said that a Thanksgiving meal costs 25% less this Thanksgiving, coming up, think of that, than it did last Thanksgiving under Sleepy Joe Biden.
This coming from the man that we just watched on video the other day, falling asleep in the middle of a meeting in his office.
Well, actually,
so the fact that he still refers to, and again, Joe was sleepy, but
Excuse me.
He just fell asleep last week and then stood there like a deer in headlights staring straight ahead while some guy falls over and is on the floor of the Oval Office. And he's just in there. And he is having dementia as well. He's having dementia. That scene with him, and I think it was the Japanese president or prime minister, and she was like trying to lead him around the room, and he was like a lost dog. Like he is definitely not 100%. He's not.
You hear this? It's the sound of the tiniest.
Why is someone telling you to F off? What's happening?
How did you know? How do you know they were talking about me? What, you think I look like Steve Buscemi? Is that what you're going to say?
I think that as to between you and me, I would hope that they're referring to you and not me.
Well, I don't know. You might pass for Buscemi on your best day. You never know.
No, Biden might. I hear you, Miranda. Biden might have been in worse shape. Trump has innumerable amounts of physical things. I also think he's had a mini stroke. There's a lot of things going on with him. I think he wears a catheter. I think he craps his pants. I think he's having multiple health things at the same time. Dementia just being one of them.
Here's what I believe. When it comes to this particular issue, and again, a little secret, there's two layers to this that I think are very important here. The first one is they're talking about Walmart, the worst mega corporation maybe in the world. Well, I won't go that far, but certainly in the United States. They're right there with DuPont, Amazon. You think of any of the ones that are at the top. Walmart destroyed small town America more than any any other element in our country. You could talk about NAFTA for sure. You could talk about you could talk about NAFTA, normal trade relations with China, and the removal of Glass-Steagall, and I did all three. Yes. And Walmart, which funded Clinton's entire political career, had as much to do with that as anybody. But here's the little dirty secret that no one's talking about. Is Trump telling the truth right now? Yes, he is, but only partially. It's true. The cost of the Thanksgiving meal at Walmart is down 25% from last year with Sleepy Joe. But you know what I forgot to mention? That the size of the Thanksgiving meal is about 30 to 40% smaller than it was last year. I totally forgot to mention that part.
Okay. Is he also mentioning the amount of people that even working still can't afford that, and the amount of people that are not able to find work?
That's a totally convenient truth. I don't want to talk about.
25% lower for people that can't afford anything is really nothing.
That's fair.
That's a 25% reduction. I think that's right. And if you remember, when I first came in, the first 2 days I had a news conference, eggs, they were hitting me with eggs. Eggs had quadrupled in price.
I wish they were hitting you with eggs.
And they're screaming at me. I just got here. I didn't know about eggs. And Brooke Rollins, our agricultural commissioner, secretary, did a great job. And now eggs are what they were. We got eggs down. We get it all down. But our prices are much lower. Their line is price is affordability. That's the new word, affordability. It's much less expensive under Trump. And I haven't been here long. 9 months is not a long time. But look at what I've done to energy. Look at the price of gasoline. Going from $4.50 to $2.50 or $2.70, it's going to be $2 gasoline.
People want affordable.
Well, the economy is my thing, and we have the greatest economy in history.
Are Republicans not selling it enough?
Yes,
for
the Republicans.
Oh, my God.
They're totally not selling it good enough, because in my eyes, things are really great. They're totally incredible. And we're totally perfect. No problems. You're the one with the problem. You just can't see it. It's all on you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what people are referring to in terms of what about this that was so over the top, where people are talking about now you've got what they should ask him to step. Like, what was different about this than how he always is?
Nothing.
Okay. So, right. So it's just him being him. They wouldn't 25th Amendment him.
Trump is incapable of speaking ill about the economy, because in his eyes, and especially in the eyes of those that are surrounding him, they are doing exceptionally well, beyond incredibly well.
Oh my God. Him and his family have made so much money between all of their shenanigans and their crypto or whatever that is that they're involved in. They're just sitting there and just making a fortune off of this position. That's all they're doing. They're just totally enriching themselves.
And in many cases throughout history, as we've seen, there are those at the top that get rich, but they also make sure that their people are well taken care of. This is part and parcel why you have always had a very favorable opinion of Queen Elizabeth when she was in her heyday, particularly in the UK. And perhaps some others.
I mean, I have thoughts. I have, I think I see, I have mixed thoughts.
But comparatively speaking, we have not had any semblance of any type of leadership in this country that even in a small way reflects that of the working class since the days of JFK and LBJ. It's been that long, even Nixon to a degree. But over time, it just all went to hell.
You need to take that off the screen now. Okay.
All right. You feel better now? Well, guess what?
Somebody mentioned it, but it's what I was saying to you about like the other day. It's like we do that. It sits for too long. We got to move on.
We're not moving on.
No, we don't have to move on topic, but we don't need to sit on a frozen screen for any amount of time.
But it looks really great. Aren't you totally impressed with my total kissy face? I look really great, don't I?
No, he's disgusting.
Well, he's got even more disgusting things to say, because now they're going to get a little bit deeper into how full of shit he really was about an America First agenda.
Are not thrilled about this idea of hundreds of thousands of foreign students in the United States. We have about 350,000 Chinese. One point during COVID, you were going to, push to, get them out, but that was pulled back. You've said as many as 600,000 Chinese students could come to the United States. Why, sir, is that a pro-MAGA position when so many American kids want to go to school and there are places not for them, and these universities are getting rich off Chinese money?
Sure.
Before he responds, let's just be very clear about something. Since you and I have been working together, we have been very adamant about the need for this country to have tuition-free trade schools and public college. Every other metric when it comes to economic advancement in every part of the world, for every dollar you invest in the economy based on education or higher education, particularly in trades, for every dollar you invest, $7 goes back into the economy. And when you think about how little it would cost for every year that someone who's eligible to get the proper training or education, that would cost somewhere in the neighborhood of about $60 billion. In the grand scheme of how much we spend on an annual budget, it's not, I don't even think it's 1%.
Right.
And the idea that you can't earmark that money for that purpose. So total BS right off the bat.
Let's let it play for a bit.
Never said about China, but we do have a lot of people coming in from China. We always have China and other countries. We also have a massive system of colleges and universities. And if we were to cut that in half, which perhaps makes some people happy, you would have half the colleges in the United States go out of business.
So what?
Well, I think that's a big deal.
Are they fans?
You would have the
historically, the United States?
Yeah, but you would have, as you know, historically, black colleges and universities would all be out of business. You would have a system of colleges and universities.
So we're dependent on China to keep our university system going?
But I think it's good to have. I actually think it's good to have outside countries. Look, I want to be able to get along with the world.
They're not the French. They're the Chinese. They
Did he
spy
just
on
say
us.
he
They
wants
steal
to be
our
able to get
intellectual
along with
property.
the world? Wait, so he just said he wants to be able to get along with the world.
Yes.
Okay, and so sending warships and aircraft carriers to Venezuela and bombing boats without any evidence is, I don't know, or maybe expanding NATO, or, I mean, I don't know. He doesn't strike me as someone trying to get along with the world. That's what I'm saying.
The world is going to get along with us whether they like it or not. That was the point I was trying to make, Jen.
I think the French are better.
Yeah.
I mean, really? I don't know. I'll tell you, I'm not so sure. We've had a lot of problems with the French, where we get taxed very unfairly on our technology, where, you know, they put 25% taxes on American products.
But it's perfectly acceptable when you put tariffs on everybody else, right? I'm just saying. And he picks
none of it is going to work in our favor. That's what's so absurd. The rest of the world is just watching us implode economically. There's nothing that we can do to other countries at this point that we haven't already been doing in terms of sanctioning and punishing and economic bullying. We've been doing it for years to so many countries around the world. And now the only difference is he's trying to do it to countries that we need them more than they need us. And so it's just silly. And all that's going to happen is we're just imploding economically. He's facilitating it. Doesn't matter what he does. It's ridiculous.
We'll finish it up.
Look, assuming everyone treats us badly, because that's the way I am, but we take in trillions of dollars from students. You know, the students pay more than double when they come in from most foreign countries. I want to see our school system thrive. But at the same time, I know you and I disagree. We're never going to agree on it, but that's okay. And it's not that I want them, but I view it as a business. We have millions and millions of people. Also, I want to get along with countries if possible. You know, people are shocked. Remember, Hillary Clinton said, we'll be in a war. I stopped 8 wars in the last 9 months.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's news to me. I wasn't aware of that one. What wars did you stop?
Let's think. Pretty sure Ukraine and Russia still happening. Pretty sure Ziohel still bombing Gaza. Pretty sure these things are still happening, but you know.
I think Eric's right. I think he may have started 8 wars.
This is just silly.
He's off the rails now. He doesn't know what to say. And he's getting pushback from Laura effing Ingraham. the only person who could suck his dick harder would be Sean Hannity. Maybe Mark Levin if he's very nice to Israel.
Exactly, Josie. No one pushes back. He wouldn't be able to name 8 wars.
Well, listen, this really terrible war is happening in Narnia and on the moon. You didn't see the one on the moon, and we're also going to Mars. We're going to stop the wars on Mars. Really terrible things happen. And Jen, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there is a potential war starting between Jupiter and Saturn. We got to get out there. We got to stop it before.
Right, I'm a little trumped out. Right now.
We'll finish it out.
I don't want to be in wars. If I am in a war, we're going to win the thing fast, and it'll be violent. But
Speaking
you know
of-
what? I don't want to be in wars. But one thing, you don't want to cut half of the people, half of the students from all over the world that are coming into our country, destroy our entire university and college system. I don't want to do that.
I wouldn't lose any.
And don't forget, MAGA was my idea. MAGA was nobody else's idea. I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else. And MAGA wants to see our country thrive.
Yeah, he's off the rails. But you know what? Hey, he's still got his people, but he's just facilitating it. And I saw somebody in the chat talking about Schlossberg or whatever that he's running, Jack Schlossberg.
Oh, fuck that guy.
It doesn't matter. They could put up whoever they want to. The Democrats, JD Vance is what we're looking at.
Yeah, no. Jack Schlossberg is he's a Kennedy, and he's running for Congress in Nadler's retiring seat.
Yes,
Shock.
but then there's people that are speculating they're grooming him to be like the presidential nominee.
Oh my God! Yeah, with a name like Schlossberg, that's going to go really far, especially now in the United States. Yeah, good luck, buddy.
It doesn't matter what the Democrats do. It doesn't matter what Trump does. Like, there's nothing that's going to matter at this point in terms of saving American empire. And it's just not going to happen. And nothing is going to matter regarding saving the Democrats.
It may not have mattered in the context of how it had been blurted out, but when you say something as egregious and off the wall as I totally stopped 8 wars, the economy is incredible. We are welcoming, we're totally dealing with China, but we're welcoming all the Chinese students to our country because they pay a lot more money because it's a ripoff to go to college. That is almost the equivalent of standing on the debate stage and saying we beat Medicare. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. You're just lost. Like Joe was lost, you're lost too. And this is the country we have. We are, and you have often said, Trump is America.
Oh, he to me is the epitome of what American empire is in the world and how the world views us. I can't think of a better representative of the buffoonery and the bullying and the meanness and he is a perfect representative of how the world views our country and not our people. Most people that I've talked to globally definitely distinguish the American people versus, what's going on up there in the predator class.
And there's one last thing I want to mention about this story. For those of you who, again, are new to our channel, and again, we have over 550 people watching live right now, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed and share the stream if you can. When we were small potatoes, and we were small potatoes for a long time, we still managed to get some very interesting guests on the channel. And one of the more interesting guests that we were able to get at the time was Bill Pulte. For those of you who know who Bill Pulte is, he is somehow the director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency and the chairman of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. This guy, who is a total Nepo baby, has basically masked his entire economic position behind this idea of charity. And you've often said that charity, and I've said it as well, charity is a way for the rich to avoid having to pay taxes.
When you're talking about, no. Charity is something that's universal and people give what they can give. You're talking about philanthropy. Philanthropy is something that class of people does to basically toot their own horns and avoid paying taxes even more so. Correct.
So the Pulte interview is in our archives. Bill doesn't talk to us anymore. Not a surprise. He decided that he was going to be, yeah, it's a different form of that. So Correct. He was known for Twitter philanthropy. So he would look for people that were in need of help, and he would toss them $100 and $300 and all of this stuff, and he would build up a hell of a following. Why do I bring up Bill Pulte? Because he's the genius that suggested that Trump go on national TV with Laura Ingraham and suggest 50-year mortgages for people that want to buy a home.
That's him. Wait. How do we know that was him? Like, was he bragging about that was my idea?
It was leaked. Someone leaked it. Like, yeah, he got that from him. The only type of person that would make that type of a suggestion is a sadistic son of a bitch. It's already hard enough for people to get a home. You know what the average age is of a person who is able to buy their first home today? The average age today.
I would say late 40s.
It's actually not that high, but it's 38.
Oh.
That's pretty late.
Yeah, but it's bad. It's not good.
Basically suggesting that you need to be, again, based on the statistical average of the United States, you need to be full-time in the workforce for at least 16 years before you will have the opportunity to buy a starter home. And so what they're suggesting based on the averages is that you can buy your first home at 38 and you can have a mortgage until you're 88 or basically till you're dead. So you will owe nothing and be happy.
It's a way of convincing people that they have ownership when in fact they never will have ownership. Maybe their children or grandchildren could eventually have ownership. It's pathetic. We're really going back to feudalism. That's what this is, where the lords own all of the estates and the people have to work for the lords in order to be able to have housing. But you're not going to be able to afford to buy anything. And then, of course, they have complete control over the rental market. So the prices are going to be exorbitant. So they can actually control the amount of people that have housing or not, even though we have a surplus of housing and a record number of people without houses. Guys, poverty is a policy decision, and it's violence. It's incredibly violent. So people need to remember that.
Correct. If you are here, and we appreciate you all, make sure you go over to patreon.com/revolutionary change. For as little as $5 a month, you can become a supporter of our small but mighty and growing channel. We are about to eclipse, maybe this evening, 85,000 subscribers. I know Jen somehow thinks that we're getting to 100,000 before the year is out.
It could happen.
It could happen. I mean, listen, anything's possible with supporters like you guys. Anything. You're really great people, incredible people. Jen, you know, we got a really great audience here. These people are tremendous people.
I'm so sick of the Trump.
I'm so sorry you're sick. Jen,
I really am.
I love the people that are here. Are there any cute ones in the audience? I just want to know. By the way, interestingly enough, and we're going to get to the Epstein email shortly, apparently, this is another reason why everyone is convinced that the Clintons had Vince Foster removed. Apparently, Hillary was having an affair with Vince Foster. That came out. Mm-hmm. I mean, at this point,
how long before he, removed himself?
It couldn't have been that long. And he offed himself the first year that they were in the White House.
Right.
So here's what it is.
Yeah.
Jim Talib with the $5. Thank you so very, very much. Always great to see you. Cheetah, thank you for the $10. Sammy Hamdi had been released and free now. He is back in the UK and back to speak up. That is awesome news. Thanks for covering when he was abducted by ICE. Maybe you can have him on your show sometime. We'd have him on anytime. Absolutely. Yeah. Rach, if you're seeing that.
She sees it. He's got time zone constraints, but we'll see what we can do.
We always figure it out.
He's in the UK. Yeah.
Alex Scott Mittens, great to see you. Thank you for the $5. You should start your shows with yesterday's live stream, starting clip regarding Israel. I'm not sure. Not sure what you're referring to, brother.
No.
But share in the chat if you can. We really appreciate it. Texas grown with the $20. Thank you very, very much. Do they really want this global government, or is it more oppressing all others, 98, 99%, as a game, like making prophecies seem true to beat the Bible as an example? Look, I have often said that if you really want to know what our broken system is in an image, if you remember the beginning of the pandemic, Pelosi and McConnell did like a fist bump or an elbow bump or whatever it is that they did. I said, oh, that's the government. That is it in a nutshell right there. They're all WWE 24/7. And then as soon as the cameras are off, they go down to a speakeasy underneath the Capitol and they have a nice fucking laugh at our expense. Can you believe how absolutely ridiculously stupid these people are? Oh, trust me, I'm 3 sheets to the wind before I start talking, and I already know. It's true. That's how they think we're fools, and we buy it. And a lot of people still do. Not everybody, but a lot. Patman 67 with the 7 pounds. Jen and Peter, keep up the good fight. Their evil will eventually consume them. They wouldn't let me put the Palestine flag here.
Oh, thank you. And also it has the PS next to his name because they won't show the Palestine flag. But thank you, my Scottish friend.
Always great to see you. Drive by, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Much obliged. We really appreciate you being here, and not to be outdone because we have another one. Patman, you're becoming a YouTube member. We appreciate you.
Don't do it. You're going to.
What's the matter? Listen, I appreciate the Scotsmen when they come here and they support our channel. We have to give them their credit. They've done really good.
I do. I love me a Scotsman very much so.
Scotsman. They're great. They're the greatest. Splash Kenberger, thank you for the $5. Just wanted to pitch in and say thanks for your courage. Thank you for your support. JG, always a pleasure. Thank you for the $5. Ask a church for baby formula. Most of these so-called nonprofits will say no. Of course they will. Do you know? And it's the same with synagogues. You know who does give baby formula? Who needs it very often? Mosques.
Well, first of all of these religious organizations need to start paying taxes.
Oh yes, especially if you're involved in
honestly,
politics.
Taxing religious institutions would have a very significant impact on this country.
100%. Mark J, thank you, Peter and Jen. Appreciate the $2, my friend.
Thank you, Mark J. Thank you, Drive By. Look at that. Drive By just donated 10 memberships.
Oh, Drive By, Madonna mia, grazie, grazie. We appreciate you doing so very much for our channel. We appreciate everybody doing as much for our channel. And again, patreon.com/revolutionary chick. Stop doing that.
No, that was cool that they were able to figure out a way around the thing and be able to show the point of the flag.
That is cool.
Yeah.
You get on my ass. How come it's like if I did that.
You're just putting up the patron. It's not like you're in deep thought. You're just putting up the patron. You're just telling people to go there.
Jen, I'm telling you right now, in like 5 seconds, we're whipping out the Rock'em Sock'em robots. That's all I got to say. Been like on my ass all night long.
Bring Janine in. Just stop. Just stop. Just bring
only Janine is here. Where's Mel?
I don't know, but we
Well, Janine's I'm sure Janine has messaged Mel. She'll probably be here any second. She's on the phone. Okay, Janine, take your time for a minute. Saeed, you are just I think he just wants us to put the adorable little munchkin's face on the screen.
It's Mohi.
Mohi.
Which is probably short for Muhammad, but Mohi.
Either way, thank you very, very much.
He's so friggin' cute. He's delicious.
Ladies are allowed to be fashionably late. Men cannot make ladies late. That is just the way it is in this world, but we accept.
How come I always have to wait for you?
Me?
You?
No.
Yes. We're always on Peter time.
50 seconds, maybe 10 seconds.
Just have to.
Yeah, you can complain all you want, but the truth is that I'm never truly late. Like
You're
that
late.
doesn't happen.
You're late. You don't mind causing anxiety on my part. That's the whole point.
You can tell yourself what you want, but
yeah,
hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
She is a wonderful guest. She is somebody who we have been in communication with since the beginning. This atrocity of a genocide but she is somebody who has incredible courage and continues to fight the good fight. And God willing, we may have finally turned a corner. Janine Giannis, welcome back to Revolutionary Change.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me back. And I can assure you, Mel is on her way.
She's here. She's here.
Oh, she's okay. Okay, yeah. Thank you so much. It's a joy to be back.
Absolutely.
Always a pleasure. And not to be outdone, your co-host of the previously prohibited podcast. Make sure you guys check the link in the description. Mel Whitty, welcome back to Revolutionary Change.
Hi guys, thank you for having me. I clicked from the last time. I clicked the link from the last time. I'm like sitting there and it's like, says it ended. Yeah.
I'll admit we were both late because I called her because I was being dragged over some crazy thing. And I was like, am I crazy? Like, did I misinterpret this tweet or something? And she had to talk me off the ledge. So
yeah.
Always wear it as a badge of honor. Anytime
exactly. Yes.
They act the way that they do, just remember you're winning. Right now, they've reduced themselves to flying little blimps over Rockefeller Center. You will not be removed.
Did you guys see that? Did you see that?
Was it real? Because someone said it was an AI, and then I went back and I couldn't tell if it was AI or it was real.
Well, I thought there were two of them there, and they looked like mini. Okay, first of all, they looked like mini blimps because the real blimp wouldn't be able to fly that low. Right. So it looked to me that they were probably like some sort of, what do you call it? Drone blimp things.
I thought it was real. All of the people in the thing look very real. I was looking for like the telltale of somebody having like a third leg or something crazy like that. Nothing like that. But then I was like, maybe I don't know. Maybe, because they are so insane. This is so crazy. This whole idea is so nuts that maybe it really is AI. I don't know. Either way, I thought the whole video, I just tweeted, I was like, this is weird. This is really, really weird.
Well, whether it's real or AI, the concept is pathetic, right? Like whether or not those were actual blimps or whether or not they created an AI to give that same message, it's ridiculous.
It is. It's so unnecessary. And the messaging, because the messaging that is meant to be sent is to really just to scare Jewish people to think like, oh, the whole world hates you, right? And obviously, thank heavens for social media that people know that that's not true. Nobody hates that. Nobody wants to see anything like that. You have of course you have crazies, but and so it was like nice to see there was tons of Jewish people in there that was like rejecting this. This is ridiculous. You guys are being, hyperbolic or just really kind of gross in this. Yeah. And so I was happy to see a lot of people just like, what in the world is this crap? Just no. Okay. This is, we actually just elected a new mayor and hopefully he's going to do great. That's fingers crossed. And I say that as a Republican or a conservative or whatever, I think he's going to do good. And I hope that the campaign that he has ran has really opened up a lot of conservative eyes to the fact that you guys better stop jerking around with just this nonsense, whatever it is that you're trying to, all these culture wars. I have talked to so many conservative people here recently that I've talked to people who have flat out said, I'll just vote for another Democrat. I'll just do my research and vote for a Democrat. Okay. They're so sick of just the nonsense coming from the Republican Party in the refusal to address these real problems, which of course Mamdani absolutely tapped into, right?
I do think that one of the key stories right now regarding Mamdani that is not going to get any attention unless he actually follows through with it is this idea that he's going to remove the city contracts between Israel and New York City. Now, if he does do that guy better have armored guard protection at all. Because that's how you get killed. That's how everyone's tough until they start fucking with oligarchs' money. Then you get to see just how tough they really are.
Yeah. But it's also how you freaking secure legend status, right? That there's going to be a lot of people.
Peace, then it'll be interesting to see. But
I will get down. I will erect a statue in my town to him if he's able to pull that off. Okay. Because it would be so amazing to see that happen, to really see it happen. Not going to hold my breath, but that should be the goal. That should be the standard, the floor. That's where we start. and then go from there.
We're living in very treacherous times right now. Obviously, the emperor has no clothes, being that our president totally know what I'm doing, doesn't really know what he's doing. And now, Jen, as obviously you've pointed out, we're rolling the dice here. I mean, I know there's a lot of ways we could say that we roll the dice with World War III, but if we keep poking at Venezuela, knowing full well what this is all about the oil that is underneath their soil. I don't know if, for those of you in the audience who are not familiar, the biggest oil reserve in the world is under Venezuela's soil. It's about 25% of the crude oil supply in the world. It is trillions upon trillions of dollars. And of course, the reason why we're trying to get Maduro out of Venezuela is because he doesn't want to do business with us. It has nothing to do with any other reason. That's why they give the Nobel Prize to the fake president of Venezuela. And now it looks like this is becoming a much more existential threat than just a little bit of saber rattling. Like there's apparently plans to invade Venezuela now.
We'll see. I take a little bit different, when I look at the oil reserves, these are like acknowledged oil reserves. I do think that there's something to be said for what has been acknowledged and what hasn't. Confirmed oil reserves, right? So most countries, even like, Saudi Arabia, I think there was a scandal a few years back about they were hiding the amount of oil that they actually had, right? Because if you can lower, if you bluff it, then you can make it seem more scarce. All energy wealth is derived from scarcity. So it behooves them to make it seem like they have less. Now, it's possible that Venezuela just has so much oil that they can't even hide how much oil they have, right?
Yeah.
Which is possible. But yeah, but from what I recall, Maduro said he would sell his oil to us. It's really just that Exxon doesn't like the terms of the contract that they want to do. So, which again goes to American coupling with corporations, right? The American government is capital. Oh, we're capitalist government, it's a free markets, which is total bullshit, right? Clearly, because if it was about a free market, you would just do the trade. You would just open up the trade markets and you would allow this country, whatever it is, and you actually wouldn't back these American corporations when they go into foreign countries and decide to set up shop there. Hey, that's actually your risk, your business to do. And if it goes south, that's the cost of doing business in a foreign nation, not our problem. But obviously that's,
we're
kind of an idealistic.
We're poking at a war with them.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. For a corporation. It's not even for their oil. It's for corporate interests is my point, really. Yeah. Right? Because they'll sell us their oil. They just won't do it on Exxon's terms.
One of the biggest fears that I think we all had during Biden's presidency is that he was not the president. We always refer to him as President Blinken. That's who was actually in charge of this country. And I think we're in a similar situation now where I'm questioning whether Trump really is in charge. I mean, he's really not. No president really ever is, at least not since Kennedy. But point is, whoever is calling the shots and whoever's in his ear is clearly giving him this advice of, oh, it'll be quick, Mr. President. We'll go in. We'll start on Friday. We'll be done by Sunday night. And then everything will be great. And we'll have trillions more for the U.S. economy. I really think that it's in the most simplistic terms that's how it happens. Janine, your thoughts?
Yeah. Go ahead, Jen. Sorry.
No, go, please. I'm waiting to hear. You probably are just as knowledgeable about this as I am, if not more so.
I actually missed the question. Sorry.
Okay, it happens to me too.
Tee up, Jen. Yeah, because I'm a very boring person.
So what I think this, and I agree with Mel, this isn't just about the oil. It isn't just about the oil. I think there's a lot of things. I think right now they realize that they're failing with Ukraine. They're failing all over the place. And I do like I think they like the idea of this resurgence of the Monroe Doctrine. And they're very much into right now just getting in wherever they can. And that's just part of it. But this idea that they're just, without evidence, blowing boats out of the water and killing people without any evidence or any due process, this is completely unacceptable. In water that isn't even our water. It isn't like there's people threatening us. I'd still say due process is a thing. So we're clearly trying to bait them into some sort of altercation to justify whatever else it is we want to do. But yeah, I don't think it's just about the resources.
Right. I also think that there has to be a motivation. So you have this kind of right leaning, and of course, I'm very much in this sphere. So I understand the kind of the mindset of your right leaning Americans who, again, these were your patriotic Americans who joined the military after 9/11. They went to Afghanistan. They went to Iraq. They watched their friends get blown up. They come home with all kinds of ailments, and they don't see any benefit because, of course, the U.S. didn't get any benefit from either one of our forever wars over in the Middle East. And so it's like, so some part of me thinks like, well, they think that number one, this could be an easy win, and then we'll have something to show for it. We'll have some natural resources that we gained. But of course, that's a fluff because, like we said, this is for a corporation. This is not for the American people. The blood and treasure spent will not be paid back to your average American. Even in like if you went back to and you just kind of discarded everything and this was just like a total war of conquest, that's never going to happen again because we are in fact a plutocracy that is owned by corporations, and all of the wealth will be sucked out from the very top. And you would send your sons to die for nothing yet again for the 10th time in the last 100 years. So.
Well, you got to die for capitalism. You know that.
All right. I mean, where are you? I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, obviously, you know what is going on in Venezuela.
Me? Well, yes, I know. Yeah, I know. I don't know a ton. I have also been insanely busy, so I don't want to like over sell my knowledge on the subject, but it seems like a really bad idea. The lack of due process with assassinations should be a concern for everyone. It's been a little bit surprising seeing people on Twitter defending it. The whole point of due process is that you don't actually know somebody's guilty of something until you try them and have, some kind of procedure to ensure that they're actually the person who did something you said happened or that the thing happened that you're saying happened. So that's, extremely disturbing. I don't have a ton of knowledge about, a lot of the underlying motivations and stuff like that.
Well,
so.
In terms of what is going on, the arrival of the USS Gerald Ford in Caribbean waters has started what one defense expert calls a strategic shot clock, forcing the Trump administration to decide whether to act militarily against Venezuela or retreat, each with profound geopolitical consequences. The Ford Strike Group, including 3 guided missile destroyers, God, this is so out of control, entered the U.S. Southern Command area of responsibility on Tuesday, expanding the U.S. military footprint to roughly 15,000 troops across a dozen warships in the region. I'm telling you, they're all standing there on the ship like, what the fuck are we doing here? Yeah. The deployment officially part of a counter-narcotics campaign. Intensifying speculation that the White House may consider direct strikes against Venezuelan targets. China has already indicated that they won't back Venezuela if that happens. There's no strategic rationale for sending the Ford to the region unless it's intended for use against Venezuela, said Mark Kansian, senior defense advisor at the Center for Strategic International Studies, in an interview with Newsweek. The shot clock is now running. This carrier can't just sit idle. They'll either need to act or redeploy it, and pulling back would amount to backing off.
Yeah, something I think that's under, and this is something that Janine and I have talked about extensively, is the deployment of this, this AI tech, these drones, which is this, again, thus far has been all drone warfare, right? And they have been using AI to get their targets this exact same way that they have done in Gaza. And this is what we've been saying. Everybody has been saying since the get-go, everything they do in Gaza is the test grounds, right?
Yes.
And, you and I, Jenny and I have talked about this many times about how now we're starting to see the spillover. And again, so we went from the Mediterranean, now we're in the Atlantic, now we're down in South America, where it's going to come closer, guys, because I don't know if you guys saw the announcement today, but Marco Rubio said that the cartels now have more ammunition, more weapons than most of the militaries on Earth. He made that, he was on a tarmac somewhere and he said that. So we're getting closer, okay? This will be eventually everything that happened in Gaza will come to the U.S. I don't know if you also saw today that there was the designation of 4 Antifa groups in California and Oregon and Washington, as now they have been designated as foreign terrorist organizations, FTOs, instead of domestic terrorist organizations, which again gives it significantly more teeth, right? So we went Gaza, now we're Venezuela, it'll go Mexico, and it will come to the US. So even if you're like, oh, I don't care and it's not here, it's coming, baby. You better wake up.
The problem is that what they're going to do is they label everybody Antifa or this or that, and then the other side doesn't like that, and they automatically accept the label. So that's how you get Americans to accept even their own people being subject to these kinds of and you know, I mean, you can already see it. Like a lot of people on the right are like, oh, they're Antifa, so who cares? And it's like, you know, they're just labeling people like that, just like they did it with the January 6th people.
I don't know. I mean, Jen and I have had this conversation at length. I'm starting to think more and more that so much of social media, especially X, is just one big bot farm, and people are being paid to make these comments, or they're just an AI creation going right along with it. Like these counts just get boosted in ways that, I mean, if Laura Loomer gets 10,000 likes on a post, 97 to 98% of them, in my opinion, have to be coming from either outside the U.S. and they're not real. That's just where I stand.
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, but that IL Jacoby guy, who, if you, it says the
IL Jacoby. IL Jacoby.
Yeah. I call him Eyeball, so I don't. But he actually made the mistake of posting his profile visits the other day. He said, I'm being targeted by bot farms. his profile, it was like something like 15% came from India. I'm like, do you think that anti-Israel bot farms are being ran out of India? I don't think so, bub. Okay. The Israeli government is literally boosting you. And you just posted the evidence of this.
Remember, he doesn't feel safe. And as I often like to point out, because I know Jacoby pretty well, this silver spoon little bitch from Princeton, New Jersey, his own father is a tenured professor at my alma mater. Jen, where did I go to college again?
Rutgers.
Yeah. So, you know, at my college, he is a tenured professor. He is from Palestine, but he calls it Israel. And he basically is an untouchable. And he has gifted his son a very privileged life. And this is why he has this platform where he gets to do this. There's nothing organic about him or just about anybody else. Anyone that is supporting Israel at this point is at a level that I wouldn't even want to touch. But let's continue and finish this one out. The Ford's presence, can't see and explain, presents a narrow window for action, a visible display of force that cannot linger without consequence. If used, it could signify the beginning of a broader campaign. If withdrawn, it could be seen as a strategic climb down and a sign to Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro that President Trump is bluffing. The Ford is too powerful a capability to just sit in the Caribbean and do nothing. They'll probably run some exercises, but it won't be able to sit there week after week. Yes, so there's good, like I said, saber rattling type BS. But that ostensibly is what we're looking at. And to finish it out, the aircraft carrier group is ordered into the region on October 24 by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who relocated it from the Mediterranean. It's unbelievable. According to the Pentagon, its mission is to detect, monitor, and disrupt illicit actors operating drug trafficking routes that span from the Pacific to the Caribbean.
Can I just ask why that's our job? Does anybody know? Because I don't recall like us being assigned that job. Like, at camp, we used to have like a chore wheel and you would rotate the wheel and everybody would be in charge of different things on different days. Like, did the world get together and decide that we're going to patrol from the Pacific to the Caribbean outside of our own waters and just patrol that area for what we just don't like? Like, I don't remember getting that job.
No, everybody whipped out their and we said we got the biggest one, so we are the ones that get to patrol the oceans. It's essentially what happened, right?
It's infuriating to me. It's infuriating.
Yeah, and that started in the 50s when, I guess we got something out of it, and now it's just a giant headache and a giant money suck, right? Out of the American taxpayer base, just puts us more in debt. We get absolutely nothing out of this. Not that it would be right if we did, quote unquote, get anything out of this, even though I would argue that America is the most resource-rich country in the world, and we don't need to do any of this. We actually are blessed with the most perfect geography on the planet as well. But it really is kind of throws back to this show of force is the kingmaker, right? And so we, in some ways, live in perpetually 1951.
Yeah, well, it's starting to wear thin on the rest of the world because they're about to be done with us.
Well,
it's starting to wear thin on even the most patriotic Americans because it's like, what the hell are we even doing? You know?
I believe in what Whitney Webb often says, is that this is one nation under blackmail, and that's the biggest reason why we end up doing the things that we're doing. And of course, the big story of the day is regarding these Epstein email leaks. Now we're starting to get a really good idea of exactly what has been going on behind the scenes, but not that I think it's surprising to anybody. I think we all agreed that part of the
maybe to Michael Tracy.
Oh, Michael Tracy. Yeah.
Honey, he's going down with that ship. I'm telling you.
I was like, he's not going to admit he's wrong at this point.
Okay, so I'm just going to reveal this because I saw some of the things that have been coming out of Michael Tracy's mouth lately. I've met Michael Tracy. I've been in his presence, and let me assure you, he smells as bad as he looks. I promise.
Did you guys watch his debate with Mel on our podcast?
No, I didn't see it. But Mel, did you take it?
It was incredible. It's actually our most viewed episode, I believe. So I was like the moderator. At some point, I said I felt like a divorce counselor or something, marriage counselor.
Let's just say Michael Tracy and I hate each other. Okay, like there is no love lost between the two of us. At one point, I got invited to a space with him in which I come in, and he is calling me just a disgusting internet troll, and he doesn't want to hear me. He doesn't want her. I don't want her in the space with me. All of these things. And unfortunately, I had a couple drinks at that point. I didn't even know he was going to be there. Somebody just asked me, "Hey, come in, talk about this Tom Abramovich thing out in Las Vegas." And of course, he's defending the dude who was, trying to solicit a young 15-year-old girl to come have sex with him, the grown-ass man. And of course, he's defending that. He's like, "We don't know if this is real." That's so nuts, right? And I had already done some research. I had written a thread on it about how I'd signed up for the app. There was no age verification whatsoever. And because the app is a dating app, it's not a porn app. So even in states that have quote unquote age verification, it doesn't apply to dating apps. It only applies to pornography apps.
Right.
So there is no age verification. And I had already shown that. And he didn't want to hear from me. He's like, "She's just an internet troll." And I ended up just going off on him, telling him that I don't effing like you. I think you're an asshole. And you're wrong. You're wrong all the time. And I just don't want to hear from you. And then
you're just wrong.
Yeah, you're just wrong. Like you are provably wrong about all of this stuff, even like from an opinion base. Like, I have proved you wrong. And he didn't really have a response to that. And then he went after Daryl Cooper and for just some stuff with the Epstein stuff. And he was just wrong. Again, he was just wrong. He just cherry picks certain things and he presents them in such a way that he's like, essentially what he wants you to do is he wants you, if you can't produce a video of the person with the knife making the stabbing motion, well, then you can't prove anything. That's his entire shtick, right? And it's just to cast doubt on it. And it's the contrarian, but taken to the max. And so we don't get along. As you can tell, that's my 10-minute tantrum just gone on.
Well, a lot of things are going to be revealed as we go forward now, because there are those that have been paid to protect people in power. There are those that have committed really heinous acts. And the president of the United States has gone out of his way to protect this information from ever reaching daylight. I do think part of the shutdown was in regard to this, but you can't shut it down forever. And eventually the truth comes to light, and eventually you see it for what it really is. And so the Epstein emails, key takeaways from 20,000 pages of newly released files, convicted sex offenders said Trump knew about the girls and called president a maniac. Again, I don't think there's, we're not shattering any new ground here. I think we're just reaffirming what we've probably always believed.
Yeah.
The public discourse of more than 20,000 pages of newly released documents related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein has reignited a long-running scandal over his relationship with the rich and powerful. Democratic politicians released 3 emails obtained from Epstein's estate saying they showed Trump may have known more about Epstein's crimes than he publicly acknowledged. The president's team struck back, saying those files were cherry-picked, and Republican reps followed up releasing a much bigger cache of files. So here's what we know so far. Epstein said Trump knew about the girls. I'm sure he did. He's kind of said as much on his Air Force One. Democratic members of the House Oversight Committee said that the emails they released raised serious questions about Trump and his knowledge of the Epstein horrific crimes. In one of the emails dated January 2019 and sent to columnist Michael Wolff, Epstein said of Trump, of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. Interesting. Trump had previously suggested that Epstein stole young female staffers whom he hired away from the president's Mar-a-Lago country club. Epstein's former friend and aide, Ghislaine Maxwell, now serving a 20-year prison sentence for sex trafficking, including procuring girls and being sexually abused. So, why do you ladies think, and that includes you, Jen, you're a lady too, why do you think, I'm breaking your chops, why do you think that Ghislaine is getting first-class treatment right now and potentially going to receive a pardon?
I don't think she's going to.
You don't think she's going to get a pardon? I don't know what to make of that. I'm actually surprised that she's still alive.
I agree.
So that's that. But the information's coming out regardless. Like, it's not like they're going to be able to control it at this point. I think it's coming out. I just don't think it matters. I think Trump can do anything at this point. It doesn't matter. The people that hate him, and the people that like him, and nothing that comes out about him is going to change. Like, I just don't see that it matters. But I, again, would like to point out to people that it's very creepy and weird to me that at Mar-a-Lago, that there are teenage girls that work in the men's locker room. I find that creepy and weird. So I don't see how anybody under the age of 18 is being employed to be in that type of environment, to be in a spa. I think it's inappropriate, but that's just me.
The other revelation, well, I don't know if we're getting to this later, but the fact that Epstein, there's confirmatory evidence that Epstein was an Israeli asset, and that they were looking to, he was exchanging emails with, I think it was Dershowitz, right? Or was it? It was someone where they were talking about.
No, Ehud Barak.
Oh, right.
Oh, that was Michael Wolff. The Michael Wolff.
Okay. Like talking about blackmailing Trump, which is further evidence. Like, even if you take the Michael Tracy approach and you're like, well, no one did anything wrong. The fact is that they were trying to use this stuff. So even if it wasn't a crime, or there was nothing wrong, like, they thought it was, and they were trying to get blackmail on, on people like Trump. I think that's a pretty big deal. That's arguably the biggest part of the story.
Nobody has to work that hard, though. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever noticed that all these psychopaths and sociopaths, like, it's not hard to get junk on them because they're so depraved and disgusting. Yeah. It's, if somebody were to offer me underage people, it's not like I'm going to be like, oh yeah, well, since you offered, yes, thank you. It's so the fact that these people are so easy to blackmail, because really they have to participate voluntarily. Yeah. That's what's so disgusting.
that's my sister was talking about that yesterday. She was asking me, she's like, of course, obviously I genuinely believe, I don't think that most people, do I think every person that went there was like screwing kids? No. But here's the thing is that there were things, and this was something that was brought up by Daryl Cooper. It's been brought up by Whitney Webb. It's been brought up by pretty much everyone that has ever done a real deep dive on Jeffrey Epstein. It's that he's into really weird shit, and not like weird stuff like, oh, I don't know, he's like when I think like weird stuff, I think like, I don't know, maybe you've got like a dolphin in like a small fishing tank outside. Like that's weird to me. Like, why would you do that? That's cruel. But I'm talking about weird stuff like you having this the Abramich chick that was from Ukraine. She's like the artist where she's doing the spell casting dinners, right? And they have the models come in and they're depicted as if they're dead people, and then people are coming by and they're making smorgasbords out of them and they're eating off of them, right? Spirit cooking dinners, that's what they're called. He's got the art all up on the wall of like, naked children turned around, and maybe some of them are like dead babies, like piles of dead babies, like an art picture of that. That's weird.
No, he should sell that to Van Jones. They should auction that off to Van Jones. Van Jones apparently really likes,
dead babies.
Dead babies. Yeah. If I walk into somebody's house and they got dead people that I'm supposed to eat off of, I'm never going back there. And here's the thing. Whatever you think about Bill Gates' ex-wife, what's her name?
Melinda Gates.
Melinda Gates. She said she went to that island one time and said, these people are effing weird and I'm never going back.
I think that's why they got divorced.
Yeah. Yeah. Because she's like, there's something wrong here. There's deep, dark spirits here, and I'm not going to go there. And much respect to her. And this is the thing is that nobody thinks that when people think about like Bill, nobody associates Melinda Gates with Jeffrey Epstein. Everybody actually associates her with rejecting that, right? So these people could have saved themselves. It's not like, oh, I went to the island one time and I'm forever tainted. No,
well, that's the thing. How many sick people? Like, it's amazing how easy it is to blackmail these people. Like how depraved they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Once you climb the ladder high enough, and you think that you're untouchable, like Peter Thiel, who apparently had a very close relationship with Epstein. You basically just run out of things to do, which is why when they talked about Pizzagate way back when, is it possible that the Clintons were involved? Anything's possible. Do I think that there are child sex rings that run out of Washington, D.C.? You bet your ass I believe there are. And this is just another example of how when you see the rich and powerful, with rare exception, ever bite the bullet, literally and figuratively, when you always get away with it, why would you stop? If you think that you're untouchable, you will simply continue. So let's continue the story and on to the next topic. Epstein saw Trump as a dog that hasn't barked. In another 2011 email, Epstein alleged to Maxwell that Trump had spent hours with one of his victims but had not spoken about it. I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. In her reply, Maxwell says, I have been thinking about that. The White House later alleged the victim was Virginia Giuffre, who killed herself in April. Well, that's what they say.
Yeah, I like how it's in red, though. That's sort of like air quote to me. I'd say it's like an air quote thing.
The email did not suggest why Trump would have spent time with Giuffre. A dog that hasn't barked is a phrase sometimes used to suggest the absence of something is more significant than its presence. Although its meaning is not entirely clear in this case. Trump responded to the files on his Truth Social platform, accusing Democrats of trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again, to deflect from government shutdown in which political divisions left the federal government in disarray for weeks. You mean kind of like how they were not rightfully swearing in a congressional representative that was on the hook for 2 months? How they also he was basically trying to strong arm Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace, who of course are political opportunists of the highest order, but they see Trump's star is fading, so they think it's safe now to not have to listen to everything that he says. It is so obvious that he's guilty of what I don't know. He's not the only one, because I know the Democrats would just love for this to all be about Trump. but it sure as hell is not. It's a very bipartisan effort. Your thoughts, ladies?
Yeah, well, I agree. Number one, I actually think that this shutdown was part of an effort to get people out of the offices. I've seen a large number of Republicans now apparently do an about face, and now they're all about releasing the files. Something tells me that that's not organic. Something tells me that there were perhaps some things scrubbed, perhaps some things, sifted through while everyone was at home on furlough. When you are able to send the entire federal government home, there's lots of dark deeds that can be done when there's nobody looking, right? So again, I agree with you 100% that that's what this shutdown was about, because nobody knows what the hell was actually, there's actually not been a good reason. The budget was already approved in September. There's literally no reason why the government should have been shut down for the last month and a half. And yet it was. So,
I assure you it's not because they care about our health care.
No, I would agree.
Can I
100%.
just say something that I see really quickly? I'm sorry. So it's interesting how they're talking about Virginia Giuffre and how she killed herself. But I see right here, it's Epstein who died in jail. Epstein who died in jail. I just think that's very interesting. Like, why?
Do you guys think he's dead? You think he's dead?
Yes.
I could go.
You do?
Nothing would shock me, but I definitely don't think he killed himself.
Remember
right?
the old.
Yes.
That
He
I
didn't
know.
kill himself.
Right. Yeah. I'm where you're at. If it came out he was alive,
I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't be shocked. Somebody mentioned earlier in the chat the Fort Bragg cartel, right? So I just finished reading that. Seth Harp, great book. I live in Fayetteville, North Carolina, very close to all of it. So I was fascinated by all of it. But he brought up this character, this don't hate me, guys. First name is Muhammad. I don't remember the last name. Egyptian guy who just happened to be fluent in Hebrew for some weird reason, right? Of course he was. Who was convicted of participating in the 93 World Trade Center bombing.
Okay.
Then he's let go. You guys know who I'm talking about? He's let go. Then he shows back up again with, Egyptian intelligence, and he's linked to 9/11. He's then put into the prison system and then just disappeared. And anytime anyone has tried to locate him for the last 15 years, they're like, well, we can't find him. We don't know where he's at.
It has always been suspected that Mohammed Atta was intelligence. I heard that for years. That's something that came out like right after it happened. Mohammed Atta is allegedly the pilot of American Airlines Flight 11 that crashed into the North Tower.
So Atta is the one who they found his passport. That's actually not the Mohammed that I'm talking about. There's another Mohammed who Seth Harp talked about in his book. And no, this guy was arrested. He was actually charged with terrorism related to 9/11, but he just gets disappeared into the prison system. And I find that very convenient, and I don't know how conspiracy theory, your crowd is probably not nearly like mine, but it is interesting to me the way that it does seem a little convenient where we get these accounts. Like you've got the Las Vegas shooting, right? The brother of the Las Vegas shooter, all of a sudden he gets popped for kiddie porn. So he gets thrown into the prison system. Apparently now he can't be located. Now we've got this distractor for, the guy who, George Zinn, who is with the Charlie Kirk shooting. Again, guy stands up, says, I'm the shooter, gets arrested. He's not the shooter at all. And
somehow was in downtown Manhattan on 9/11.
He's and he's got kiddie porn on his phone. Well, what do you know? So now no reporters have any access to him to ask him, why the hell did you stand up and say that you were the shooter and that you wanted to help the guy get away? And he's just going to be lost again once into the federal prison system. So I think that's a thing. So again, I am surprised that Epstein would just be killed. You know, why not just disappear them the way they disappear everybody else?
I thought that originally, but then
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I could see it either direction.
Number 3,
Yeah.
Epstein despised Trump. Epstein, who died in jail, supposedly, in 2019 at age 66, had a sour opinion of Trump in the years before his death. I have met some very bad people, Epstein wrote in an email in 2017, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body. In other messages, Epstein described Trump as a maniac, showing signs of early dementia. Well, now it doesn't look so early anymore, but we'll continue. Number 4.
Can we have a non-demented president?
Apparently not.
This is got to be in the history of the world. Yeah, right now, greatest economy ever. Number 4, Prince Andrew kept ties with Epstein longer than previously thought. I'll rush this real quick. The emails have cast further doubt on Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's account of when he cut ties with the child sex abuser, as well as his denials about meeting his accuser, Dufresne. We can skip this one, Colin. Let me see what other ones are available. Number 5, emails put Trump biographer Michael Wolff in the spotlight. A New York author, Michael Wolff, totally not a Zio, has written 4 books chronicling Trump's political career, including his 2018 bestseller, Fire and Fury, Inside the Trump White House, which drew pushback from the administration. Wolff has known Epstein for years, and the financier was a source for his books on Trump. The writer has previously said he has dozens of hours worth of interview tapes of Epstein talking about Trump. Of the 3 emails released by the Democrats on Wednesday, 2 included exchanges with Wolff, including the one where Epstein says Trump knew about the girls, putting the high-profile writer in the spotlight. One email sent by Wolff to Epstein in December of 2015 said that Trump might hang himself in an upcoming CNN interview on what relationship the then presidential candidate had previously maintained with Epstein. I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. He added, of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. You mean like right now how he's going to the Knesset and saying that Netanyahu's totally misunderstood. You need to give him a pardon. Totally give him a pardon. It all adds up as far as I can see.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I also think that we're kind of glossing over what has been being dropped by Dropsite News, right? I do think that some of this, again, conspiracy theory a little bit, is covering up for the fact that Dropsite News has been dropping some of the most important reporting of the last decade, I would say, which is proving definitively that not just that Jeffrey Epstein was an Israeli operative, but that he was, in very many cases, he was pulling strings. He was pulling actual strings. He was pulling together actual arms deals for dictatorships in Cote d'Ivoire. And he was pulling strings in Uganda. He was, again, we already know that Israel is all over Africa. They have their fingers all over blood diamonds and conflict in the Congo, precious minerals everywhere. And I do feel like some of this has been a distraction from Dropsite's unbelievably important. And that's what Janine was talking about earlier, was the Ehud Barak emails, which is what we've been seeing. And I think that Dropsite even reported something new today, although I haven't read it, so you guys forgive me on that. But Janine, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I would say that that's probably the most interesting part of the story, at least from my perspective. I mean, the fact that the Israeli government is basically running a blackmail operation in the United States and getting our politicians to do their bidding by running sort of sex, or anyway, working with someone who's running sex rings of underage girls. I mean, this is really, really shocking stuff. This sounds like if you told me I'd be saying this 5 years ago, I would have been like, no, that's like a crazy person in a loony bin. I would never think that. And then, I mean, over time, you just look at the evidence and you realize like, this is actually what's going on. I mean, it's the only explanation. It's the only explanation that makes sense, given all of the evidence we have. And it also sort of explains why we have politicians running cover for Israel, despite the fact they've committed one of the most horrendous genocides, I would say, in modern history. I don't like to compare genocides, whatever, but I mean, the war crimes that were taking place and are continuing to take place before the world's eyes, and yet our politicians are defending them. I mean, it's really shocking. It's something like out of a thriller that you would hope would not be real life, but it is real life.
Yeah. I think, and well, it's like, okay, so now what we're saying is we have the evidence, right? Like we have the evidence because in reality, many of us have been saying for years, and certainly a lot of people over the past couple of years, that clearly our entire government is compromised. Clearly all the branches are compromised by a Zionist agenda, among other corporate agendas. But like, let's just say we've known this, that they're compromised. And so, okay, so now let's say we have proof. So now what?
That's the thing. I mean,
like, so what different? That's what
I mean.
So what? Who cares?
The only option to me is the political one, because these people are not going to get charged. So it's just we have to vote them out, and to vote them out, we also have to have alternative candidates. You know, you can't vote them out.
Aren't also on the list.
Well, hopefully not like Jose Vega. Pretty sure he's not.
Oh yeah.
On the list, you know, but we need people to run for office, and I'm never ever going to do it. But we need people to run for office who can serve as alternatives. Otherwise, you know, but we need to get these people out of office, and I do think that's possible. It's just going to take some time and some will, and we need candidates who are feasible. I mean, look at what Mamdani did. I mean, you know, I don't agree with him on every policy issue, but to me, it was an amazing and historical feat. Because it showed that you can basically say, I don't think Israel should exist as a Jewish supremacist state, which until a few months ago was death politically. But that's his stance, at least that's his purported stance now. And yet he got elected, and they ran an extremely Islamophobic counter campaign, and that still failed. So to me, you know, even though he's not necessarily totally my cup of tea politically for a few reasons, to me, it was a monumental victory, because it's like these tactics aren't working anymore. And it's extremely important that Americans and potential candidates get the message that support for Israel is not only not necessary, but it's actually could be a liability.
Well, I would definitely say that the best comparison to Zoran is actually Thomas Massey.
Yeah.
Are juxtaposed in so many ways politically on a number of issues. And yet the reason they're the same is they're not corrupt. They are not bought by the system.
Yeah.
And people have to recognize that more than anything else. I don't trust Marjorie as far as I can throw her, but I'll tell you this much. She's totally opportunistic. She understands what's going on right now. And by following the tea leaves, she's going to come out shiny on the other side whenever this ends. And if she is going to fight on the front lines to get us off of this unholy alliance with Israel, I'll fight on the front lines with her too. And I will do the same with just about anybody else. There's always
you can come up here to Lafayette, because that's where this is her district where I am.
Yeah. You're in her district?
I am right now, but and I'm planning on relocating here. Yeah. Now I'm in Lafayette.
Okay.
But I just bought a small property in Lookout Mountain area, but it's still her district.
Right. Yeah. So we had Zaid on.
Zed, right?
Zed, yeah.
I always forgot to.
Yeah.
Zed Kalani, he's in her.
Which is funny. He's really come around, like, done a 180. He's like, actually, she's, you know, I've done campaign finance before I got involved in all, like, anti-Zionist, sphere. That was my whole shtick. And so my thing that I always want to try to impress upon people is that you have to be realistic about what you can and can't do. And the thing is that there's only about 60 districts in the entire House that are quote unquote swing districts. Yeah. And of those, There's really only about 30 that are true swing districts, because a swing district is a 10-point swing, and a 10-point swing is pretty hard.
Actually, they say that if it's anything more than 4 points, it's not. Don't even try.
Right. It's but still, so again, so you gotta kind of suck it up, buttercup. All right. And hey, if you live in a Republican district, back the best Republican in the primary. Primaries are significantly easier to win than generals, right? If you live in a Democrat district, back the best Democrat. All right. We have to break out of this left-right mold.
Yes.
And it's amazing what you could do if you could actually just get the populace, or even like people like us that are super interested in politics. If you could just get us to focus on these things and just cut the shit, get rid of it, be realistic about where we live and what we can actually impact. I definitely think it would be possible to flip 20 or 30 seats. Okay, which is about a 10%. I do think a 10% swing in a primary, I think you could, right? And here's the thing. All of these people are opportunistic. All of them, okay? There's a very small amount on the left and the right that are truly like wed to their psychotic, moronic ideas, of like, we love Israel no matter what, right? Or I don't know. I mean, on the right, we got some crazies, and the left has some crazies too.
I think Ted Cruz really loves Israel.
Well, here's the thing. I saw Don Bacon come out this morning, and this is actually Don Bacon, who I think is just one of the most. This man literally serves on the it's like something like the Israeli alliance with NATO. It's some kind of board in Europe. Old dude came out this morning and said, well, we just got to release those Epstein files. So that's actually what kind of like ticks. I was like, hold up. Y'all did something. You did something on furlough. There's no way that Don Bacon. But Don Bacon is in a swing district. He's actually in a very close swing district. So there is a chance that he's actually just being super opportunistic and was like, well, I can't. I'm not going to win if I go against the Epstein files. So because I think he only won by like 1.2% last time. It's like a real swing district that he's in.
There's also something to be said for not being involved in the two-party system anymore, and that the real fight is the consolidation of working people throughout this country, and just recognizing that if elections matter, they matter at the local level. They do matter at the federal level. I'm not going to say that they don't. Yep. But if you're not in control of your city council and your mayor, and you don't have control of what's going on in your own backyard, doesn't matter. Yeah. Total waste of time. Yeah. That's why Zoran's win is so big.
Yeah.
If you control City Hall, that's like I said, of all the things, I just thought it was big that you could actually push back against Zionism in general in New York City and win. Yeah. Now he's talking about going after their lifeblood. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, that's proof right there where it's like you can win a congressional seat and you can't do jack shit. But you can win a mayoral seat, or you can win a governor's seat in a rural state, and you've got real power, and you can do things. That's why it's often avoided. And so I do think that as this conversation comes full circle on the Epstein story and just Israel in general, and we'll get to Thailand in a minute, that's where we're going to close. I wanted to show you guys this clip, because if you think that this is not one nation under blackmail, I present to you all a small but effective clip of President Underwood, also known as Kevin Spacey.
I was being given this little peek into the resilience of Israeli citizens, that what these kids have gone through for the last couple of years, they were so excited to share of themselves and tell these stories in Hebrew, which I couldn't understand, but that's the incredible thing, of course, about human relations, is the language doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I didn't speak Hebrew. It mattered that I could understand what they were going through, what they were experiencing, what they were sharing. And
oh my God.
Does he think somehow that this is going to be the look that's going to save him and redeem him from exile? Like, is this really the going to be what helps his image?
I mean, maybe I guess he's made his bed with the Zionist pedophiles, and he
But
Not that
he's
that's
already,
unfair.
like, his reputation's already trashed. Like, why would you even need to?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Well, because it's probably a hell of a lot more. Well, you know, just like Peter Thiel's name is in the Epstein emails, you've got an email that just dropped today showing from Epstein to Thiel, hey, that was a really great time. We should do it again in a few weeks. I wonder what they could be referring to. And we know that Spacey likes him young. That is not a secret. This is something that's been known for a long time. Actor Anthony Rapp went through a very similar situation when he said he was all of 14 years old. And hey, this is the thing about thinking you're untouchable. And Kevin Spacey is a phenomenal actor. I would never take that away from him. You know why? Because he's acting right now.
Yeah, it's very weird to me. It's clear that there's a debt being paid here, right? Because that's really the only explanation for this. Because anybody who, I don't know, has a pulse can see which way the wind is blowing on this. So you either keep your mouth shut, or
Exactly.
you know, you go and you kind of advocate. At the worst, you quote unquote, you know, straddle the fence, right? And say, oh, I want the best for both kids. Nobody does what he just did. That's weird.
Yes.
You know, these kids haven't been suffering. These kids haven't had a bomb dropped over their head. They're not freaking shaking in their dreams because of they literally have PTSD in their dreams from the amount of bombs that have been dropped around them for 2 freaking years. Go screw yourself.
As the one Palestinian here, I can't even begin to imagine how this makes you feel. I'm sure that in the early stages, it probably went from crying anger to crying rage and everything in between. But now I'd like to think at this stage of the game, you look at this as like, you people are just so pathetic. There are no words.
No, it's always grated at me, and it's been a lifelong thing. You know, this didn't start for me on October 7th. This started like as long as I can remember. It's just the injustice and the complete lack of empathy for the Palestinians, and like basically we're just considered lesser beings, you know, and we're told constantly that we're inherently violent, inherently stupid, inherently bad. And then if we say anything about Zionism or Israel, we're anti-Semitic, we're horrible people. You know, there's just the double standard is, you know, it's very hard to bear. As Mel can attest to, she constantly counsels me. Many breakdowns on it, but it's not easy. For me, it hasn't gotten any. You know, it doesn't get that much easier.
No.
It is what it is.
You know, God bless my sweet co-host because she's tenderhearted. She just is. And I am not at all. It helps when you were an early Trump supporter because you were called every name in the book, right? I literally called every single name in the book. There is nothing you could call me that I have not been called, except after October 7th, I was called Ava Braun a lot, which was weird. Okay. But you know, and it's funny because I was very anti-Trump at that point, and then he was the only quote unquote Republican that wasn't like licking the wall right after October 7th. So I kind of like circled back to him, but I've always been a critic of him since, right? But so you have to get tough skin, but Janine is not, and so she is, you know, she is vulnerable. She doesn't want to be thought of these things. She doesn't like that because again, she knows in her heart that she's not like that. She's not anti-Semitic. That's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. It is like I have met a shit ton of Jewish people who are way more anti-Semitic than Janine could ever even dream of being, right? And so I, of course, am protective of her, and I'm also like got freaking rhino skin. Nothing offends me. So,
and I also want to point out.
Are you playing this more, or am I just stuck staring at Kevin?
I'm gonna finish it out in a second.
Okay.
I just wanted to point out, Mel, that I followed Trump like I followed Bernie in 2015.
yeah.
If you go back and you listen to those speeches that those two men gave in the summer of 2015, they're basically the same.
Yep. They sure are.
So when people say this, that, and the other thing, look, Trump was willing to fight in a way that Bernie was not. And that's how he became president. And it still kills me to this day. So when people say Trump has always been this way, I'm like, well, you probably weren't paying attention to when he said, NAFTA was a really terrible deal. It really killed the world. We're going to bring the jobs back to America. You know what? In a desperate country, people hear that and they think, well, listen, we've been doing this shit for how many decades? Why don't we try something? I know he's out there. I know he's a loony, but hey, maybe he's a wild card. Maybe he might do something that'll help us. And on day 2, as president, he axed the Trans-Pacific Partnership. So it was in his blood to do right. Yeah. And eventually, they got him. And And like President Underwood here, they've had him forever. And that's why he's doing this.
It is. For me, the only thing, all he had to say was, Hillary, she'll have you in Syria by the end of January. And of course, we all knew that would have been 100%. And he said, no new wars. Sold. Where do I signed? Check.
Obviously, that's changed now, but this is also why a guy like Mr. Underwood does what he does. So we'll finish it out.
Exactly.
Truly one of the most. I feel very lucky that day.
Great acting.
Yeah, he's good.
Static.
Yeah.
He had to get the tears out, guys. He had to get the tears out.
That was. Now I don't know if he's such a good actor. That was kind of transparent.
Did I? You want me to? Okay. There are actors that are that good that can cry on cue, which is actually pretty impressive. Christian Bale can sweat on cue, which is really
wow.
That's an example of the best example. And Jen, I like I said, I wanted to play that clip of Spacey specifically to show that if you think these guys are not blackmailed, I don't know what you're looking at. It's so obvious that that's what they are.
Yeah.
But the silver lining, if there is one, is that Israel is finding out in real time, the Israelis in general, that they are not welcomed in almost every other part of the world now. No one wants them. And Thailand, in particular, is a country that has put their foot in the ground and said, we do not want you here. And whether we can pass legislation in Bangkok or not, we are not accepting you in this country.
Good.
So signs going up.
Good.
And why do signs go up? Here's an example of why the signs are going up.
Okay? Build your country.
A tourist in Thailand was caught on video furiously ranting to locals and workers after an alleged hostile confrontation.
Right. Go back to your country. You are not welcome here.
That's enough.
I'm sorry, but your money, but my money, okay? Build your country.
This is old, by the way. Like we've seen this video. This is an older clip that they're referencing. But apparently the Zios have infested Thailand. And as somebody who usually right now I'm not, but when I'm at home, I live in a Zio infested area. And I can attest it's one of the reasons I'm moving.
And I just wanted to point out the reason why this confrontation happened is because this person didn't want to take her shoes off in this Thai restaurant where it is a requirement to do so if you want to partake in how the service is done. Kind of like in other Asian countries like Japan. It's called respect for other people's cultures. But as we know, that's not how Israel conducts business. It's our money, our show. You do as we say in your own backyard.
It's actually our money. But
have you? There was a very recent video in just a couple of days. It was actually very satisfying to watch of these the Thai lady boys. I love it. Somebody said that they are the kryptonite to the idea of soldiers because it's wild. So I don't like to laugh because again, this soldier, he grabbed this lady boy by the hair, threw her on the ground, beat the crap out of her. And then like a whole gang of them came and chased him down and beat the ever-loving mess out of him. It was like, holy crap, because the video cuts and then you get to him and he's like wailing on the ground, bloody head has been bashed in, the cops are coming, but he had beat the crap out of this person. So it's like, who acts like this in a foreign country? Who does this? What is this?
Israelis.
Israelis.
So I will say I'm of two minds about this because, well, I appreciate the sentiment. I don't think people should be judged by what their governments do. Like, I don't want to be judged by what my government does. And there are Israelis. That's a small percentage, but it probably amounts to a few million. Well, it doesn't mean, I don't know, percentage wise. Yeah, couple thousand anyway, people. I mean, I think what I come down on is, like, if you come from a country that's behaving like this and is committing genocide, it's kind of on you to show that you are not part of that and you disagree with it. You know, I think that's the standard I would have held Nazi Germany to. You know, I don't think Germans necessarily should have just been unwelcome abroad, but they had some affirmative duty to prove that they weren't on board with the Holocaust and what the Nazis were doing. That's where
I agree with that. But let me be very clear as someone who grew up in South Florida, and I've been around Israelis my entire life, long before the past couple of years. You will never meet more entitled, arrogant, obnoxious people. And again, this is long before the past couple of years. I can go back to my childhood and tell you this. These are the most entitled people on the planet. So while I would normally agree with Janine that we don't need to generalize about people based on what their government is doing, you are talking about a country where 82% of its people agree with what their government is doing. So we are in uncharted waters here. This is a whole new thing. And yes, there are a handful of Israelis that are fighting the good fight there and trying to do right and help the fight against settler attacks in the West Bank. Like, there are those people. And those people, I promise you, would understand why we are taking the position that we are taking, generalizing about Israelis. So I don't care anymore. Seriously, fuck them all.
The dissent has to get way bigger, right? And the only way that it gets bigger is when you are ostracized. When you realize that you are actually a pariah, that no one wants to be around you, no one wants to associate you because of the actions of your government, which you have fully supported, whether or not you're left or right. For the most part, you have supported the entity that is Zionism, which of course is meant to claim the land and kick all of displaced millions of people. So yeah, actually, you are responsible until you fully reject it and until you have a sizable amount of people. It is what it is, unfortunately.
But is that in the chat between Jews and Israelis? Alex, the Jews are not all going to Israel. Sorry to disappoint.
Yeah,
we're not going there. This is not a Jewish thing. We're talking about Israelis, which it's a very big difference.
Yeah,
but I know that you, Jen, as a Jew, you would never go there to claim, to make Aliyah and claim.
I wanted to when I was a kid. I wanted to. I thought I would make Aliyah. I went to a summer program there. I participated in ethnic cleansing. I wanted to do that. I was completely brainwashed, Zio.
And now you reject it fully and
completely.
That's what I'm saying. Now you would never, and of course you reject that. And I think that that's kind of what you have to do. It's unfortunate, but it's what has to be done. You have to make a public stance. You can't just say, well, you can't associate me. It's like, actually, sometimes you actually have to, I do believe you have to, maybe not necessarily American Jews. I don't expect a normal Jew in BFE, Oregon or whatnot. Sometimes people just aren't political and it's like, whatever, I'm not subscribing to any of this and I don't want any, and I'm of course would never hold them responsible for the actions of Israel, obviously.
Well, this is also why the conservative Inc. and the powers that be are coming after Candace and Tucker as hard as they are, because they're going after Christian Zionists. And you see, the Christian Zionists, those are the ones with the numbers. And the numbers are the ones that went at the ballot box, and those are the ones who allow shitbags like Ted Cruz to sit in the U.S. Senate. So it really is a big deal. But We are just going to finish out this clip, and we have some good news to report regarding this story.
Oh, wow. Okay, keep that.
The tourist later apologized for her actions, but made it clear she had lashed out in response to the alleged harassment she faced from the Thai workers. Locals slammed her behavior due to fears of the influence of unruly tourists. It seems regardless of the circumstance, her words were not received well by the people around her.
Now, there is a reason why, as I said, she was not well received. The people in the restaurant that worked there did not like the fact that she was not respecting the rules, which is you are asked to take off your shoes when you come here. And she says, I'm not taking them off. And then it becomes a big fight. It's like, who the hell are you? This is not your place. But again, Israelis are known to do that. So according to Arab News, Thai locals say Israeli tourists unwelcome amid exploitation, security fears. And yes, that is understandable.
No, Israel.
Number of Israeli tourists to Thailand expected to reach 350,000 in 2025, up 25% from last year. Their lack of respect for local culture, setting up Israeli schools and religious centers also stir unease. So according to Cal Flanagan, after months of enduring Israeli tourists snatching his restaurant's tissues and condiments without permission, talk about a Jewish trope, hogging seats without paying and skipping lines, Bob reached his breaking point and decided to no longer welcome them. Having worked all his life in the hospitality industry, he has never come across such behavior, just as Jen said, by visitors to the island. Each time he tried to intervene, he was faced with a wave of negative reviews. Again, they're like, they are an infestation. You get the word out to one of them, and then you get 50 of them that go on there and say, don't eat at this restaurant.
Right. No, they're vindictive. They're vindictive and vile.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Well, yeah. Need to know. After I asked one group of Israeli tourists to leave, I received more than 4,000 bad reviews. My restaurant's rating dropped from 4.8 to 2.2.
So that's crazy because that's what the Stop Anti-Semitism account does, right?
Yeah.
And she's like a rich aristocrat lady. Yeah. She's like a Sheryl Sandberg type.
Yeah, she's insane. But she organizes these kind of things where they go after people, and then they because I saw where this barber posted some weird video. I don't know. But again, they put up the business stuff, and then it's just like, holy moly, they're thousands and thousands, and it's so quickly how it happens. So yeah, I could see that people saying, actually, no, you're just not welcome here. I don't think that that's necessarily like a good long-term answer, right? I actually think that Google should just allow you to appeal this. Like, clearly you can tell when these people have swarmed you, but
well, stories like this are going to reaffirm just that, why people do not want to deal with it anymore. In October, his restaurant, Pun Pun Thai Food, a popular establishment on Koh Phangan, a holiday island in southern Thailand, put up a sign making it clear that Israelis were not allowed even past the threshold. I hate the repeated behavior I've encountered from many Israeli tourists. It happens so often that it led me to put up a No Israel sign at my restaurant. What I've experienced isn't just from one person. It happens repeatedly. Over the past few months, such incidents have been increasingly highlighted by the locals who started to record and share them on social media. In May, referencing the video, an Israeli woman went viral after a Koh Phangan restaurant employee requested that she leave for not respecting the establishment's rules. The employee could be heard saying, "You're not welcome here," to which the woman replied, "My money builds your country." I tell you, that takes serious qualities to make a statement like that.
This reminds me of my dad teaches Arabic at Cornell, as he has for many years. And when I actually took his class when I was in college. And I remember that he, if you're a professor there, or a visiting professor, you can take any course you want. So a lot of Israeli visiting professors would take his course because they wanted to learn Arabic. So for whatever reason, I won't speculate. And he would say he couldn't understand, like, they're so rude. They would take over the class and there'd be these 18-year-old kids who are like trying to learn, and they would just take it over. And the whole thing became about them, you know, and they're trying to learn Arabic, and they had no regard for the 20 kids sitting in class.
Well, they are the chosen people after all, so they come first. You know how that.
Well, the funny thing was, it was like, his classes were largely composed of, like, there were a lot of American Jewish kids who were interested in learning Arabic for various reasons. So it wasn't even like.
Yeah, well, you know what's interesting though is I hear this bitching and complaining, but having grown up in a military town, something that everybody knows is if you know, American soldiers, after a while, they have caused a lot of ruckus in South Korea and Japan, and there are many restaurants and stores that there are big signs, no Americans, period. We don't want to deal with you, you know? And that was something that American soldiers had to, and guess what happened? The American military actually deployed a whole thing where they talked about, they freaking drilled it in. You had to go through cultural training classes for weekends at a time when you would deploy to these places, because they were like, we want, you guys had to realize you can't act the way that you do. You can't go in and joke around. These are just very different. It's a different culture. You can't be all loud and boisterous in these stores when you walk in. You have to be respectful of the culture, right? And so again, self-reflection. I don't think we're going to see that in Israel.
I would actually say that after Israelis, that Americans walk around the globe like the most entitled people. We're the second most entitled people, I would say, on this.
Very often. Yeah.
Besides the nuisance that such behavior has become for them, locals are also worried about tourists competing with their businesses by renting out houses, running restaurants, organizing tours, or operating motorbike rental shops without permission.
That sounds about right.
A group of business owners and island residents recently filed a petition with more than 200 signatures submitted to the governor of the Surat, Thai province, urging action against what they described as Israeli activities causing distress to local communities.
Telling you, they're like locusts, man. They're like locusts. They need to be lanced like a boil. I don't know how else to deal with these people.
I'm not going to get this right. Apawat Sirwachaporn. Well, I mean,
that's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. Siri Wachara porn. That's what it says. Okay, hey, listen, some people like to watch porn. What can you do? Assistant village chief in Calfanigan acknowledged the growing concern over foreigners running unlicensed business operations on the island. Remember, they're chosen. They can do what they want. If they live traveled here, that's fine. But business operations should be done legally. Yes, I know, foreign concept. According to Thailand's Immigration Bureau, as of late September, there were 2,627 Israeli nationals applying for visa extensions on the island out of about 8,000 total foreigners, making Israelis the largest group under scrutiny for potential illegal commercial activity. Shocking. Man, whose family has been operating a business in Calfanigan, said problems with Israeli visitors are not new, but lately they have become more noticeable as more and more of them are visiting. I wonder why. The number of Israeli tourists to Thailand has risen sharply in 2025, with an estimated 350,000 visitors expected this year, up 25% from last year. They have very distinct characteristics as customers, like bargaining hard or being quite demanding. Of course, tourist behavior varies. Some are good, some are not. But in recent years, there have been more and more Israelis on Calfanigan. Before they used Colin to come alone, but now we see them arriving as families. That's made the Israeli community on the island much larger, and it's also intensified local frustration with them. Dr. Manak Ari, assistant professor of the Department of Political Science, Faculty of Social Sciences, Surya Haringwart University, something or other, told, no disrespect to the time, told Arab News that since the beginning of Israel's genocidal campaign in Gaza in 2023, Thailand has become a preferred destination for Israeli citizens, largely because of its cultural openness and previous absence of anti-Israel sentiment. But the lack of respect for local culture and the growing sense of economic exploitation have fueled public resentment. Many Israelis are alleged to have used Thai nominees to register businesses, trading exclusive. So basically what they're doing in the third world of Thailand is bribing desperate people to let them set up their businesses under their names. That's what they're doing, exclusively among themselves without contributing to local communities. Because why would the Israelis contribute to a community that they want to make into their own? They don't want you to have anything. They want everything. The establishment of Israeli schools and centers for religious activities, which are closed to outsiders, has also stirred unease among local residents. We could leave it there.
Yeah.
Before they kick you out.
You do have to recognize that they're coming from a culture of supremacy, right? They believe that they are superior. They're told that they're superior. And of course, they have been enacting a ethnic cleansing of the land that they occupy for the last 100 years. I won't even say 78. It's been quite longer than that. And so, I nothing about this surprises me. And it's like you either have to, and I hate that it has to be all or nothing, right? It's like at some point, like, can't you just do a little bit of self-reflection? Like, hey, maybe we should be assholes, and then like, can't we just meet in the middle?
They need
no,
to cease
it's
to
just anti-Semitism, Mel. Anti-Semitism.
No, you know what? When it's a fake nationality built on false entitlement. So it makes sense that they would be the most entitled people on the planet because they're not even real. Their entire existence is a fiction. It would be like being from Disney World. Like if somebody was born in Disney World, they're not going to say, "Oh, I'm Disneyan." You know, that's not a thing. And that's how ridiculous they are. So they have to be that arrogant and entitled because they have no legitimacy.
Yeah.
It's also a reflection of the fact that they are all mostly Eastern European. They are not, this is a white nationalist settler colonial project, and it's worked for them for 3+ generations. But now it's not working anymore. And Jen, as you so often like to say, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Israel has, without question, reached the hog stage. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And we as a United States of America have to sever this relationship forever. And it starts with recognizing that the people at the very top, bringing the whole conversation full circle, whether it's Jeffrey Epstein or anybody else in between. This has always been an unholy alliance. It has always been based on money and power. This is not some religious, whatever you would call, this is not based on any type of martyrdom of any kind. This is simply using what has been presented to them as a get out of jail free card. The Holocaust was used as a tool for many things like ethnic cleansing, among other things. And it's worked for a long time. And while I think that people would say that, oh, we loved Israel. No, I think that Israel was tolerated for a very long time. And now they're not tolerated anymore. And nor should they be. And so the sooner we could be done with them, the sooner we can try. I'm not saying we will, but we can try to save our crumbling country because it's falling apart. And what better place than to start than with severing this relationship for good? And let me tell you, when we are no longer their lifeline, they'll cease to exist. They'll be gone in 5 seconds. So with that said, we can't thank you two enough, as always, for coming on. But we also want to provide you guys with an opportunity. Remember, it is the previously prohibited podcast. So if you're not currently subscribed, please make sure that you do. Mm-hmm. We obviously would love to hear your parting thoughts. And on a personal note, Janine, just our very best to your family and anybody who's still dealing with this in a very profound way. I try to do what I can to make a difference. And I know it's never enough, but I do what I can. And we all are trying to do what we can. So thank you for your grace and your strength. Because Lord knows if this was happening to my people, I don't know what I would be doing. But I have a lot of violent thoughts in my blood, to say the least.
Well, thank you. And you guys are doing a great service by having this podcast and bringing attention to it. And I really appreciate it. And I agree with all of your sentiments at the end. You know, for America and for Palestinians, this alliance has to end. And I think we're getting there. It's been sad how slow it is. And I think, unfortunately, we're probably going to have to wait another decade or so until we're finally extricated and we get all the politicians out of office who have, you know, dual loyalty, or really not even dual loyalty, just really loyalty to Israel instead of America. But yeah, that's the key. We have to end this.
Yeah, I would agree. You know, we're all doing what we can. There's only so much we can, but the thing is that we have all taken a position that, yeah, now it seems quote unquote popular, but not even, it's dissident popular, not even necessarily mainstream popular, but just to give people a little bit of hope. I actually talked to a political operative today, a real one, a very much a DC insider, who was talking to me about the changing winds, how fast it's going in DC. Everyone sees where this is going, and everyone is trying to get positioned. Everyone is envisioning a DC post-Zionist control.
Yep.
And this is from someone who operates on the right, has a little bit of influence on the left, but mostly, you know, like when I say left, you know, like Democrat Party left, you know. But it was interesting listening to them talk and tell me about the people that they're talking to. Everyone senses it. So the winds are shifting very fast. And yeah, so I think the number one focus, obviously, we have to gain control of our country, but then I actually want accountability. I'm not going to be satisfied with just severing ties. I want to see Netanyahu at The Hague, okay? I want to see Gallant at The Hague. I want to see all of them.
I want to see Ben Shapiro in The Hague.
Joe Biden. There's a laundry list of people that belong there. Right. I agree. This is not over until there's justice. It isn't just right. Absolutely. And I think they think that they're just going to go back to just everything being normal. No. Now they've lost. Now they're losing everything. Now that's it. Now it's done.
Yeah. No, you don't get to drop 170,000 tons of bombs on a 141 square mile strip of land and then just lose power. Okay. No, sorry, babe. Exactly. That's not how that one's going to work. Okay. We're actually not going to be done, and we're not going to stop until we see real justice. Does that mean everyone's going to get justice? No. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to send all the 100,000 soldiers that served in the IDF. But we will make a statement the same way they did in Nuremberg. All right. And that will be the goal eventually. We have baby steps, right? So don't lose hope. But I promise you, it was actually an encouraging call that I took this afternoon. So we're getting there slowly but surely. So that's about it. Yes.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Yes, you too.
Holiday season. And from the river to the sea, may Palestine soon be free.
Yes, very soon. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night, ladies.
Good night.
If you guys have enjoyed this, which I hope you have you enjoyed it, Jen?
I have. We're running behind, so we're going to wrap, right? Is there anything that we have to hit?
We don't have to talk about Fetterman tonight. It's not necessary. Talk about that another night. But if you have enjoyed this conversation, which we hope you have, please go over to patreon.com/revolutionary change for as little as $5 a month. You can become a supporter of our small but mighty and growing channel. We are at currently 84,904 subscribers, closing in on 85,000. Again, 4 or 5 months ago, if you had even suggested something like that, I know Jen would have said, yeah, you probably just had a bad dream. But no, it's not a dream. It's real. We are becoming a channel where people are finding their way here, and it's extremely gratifying. I can say this. I can say it openly now, considering that the pandemic is pandemic. God damn it! I'm getting tired too. Now that the shutdown is over, your support for this channel has allowed me to put food on the table for the past several months. So that's how important you guys are to me. And you will always be able to count on me to deliver the most important of news. Some of it's fun, but a lot of it is all relevant to what our mission is. And so,
but we're not really news as much as we are commentary and analysis of news.
Yes, but we do break
and curate. We curate news that we think is relevant, and we put our explanation to it. So I wouldn't say we're journalists as much as we are information curators and commentators that spend a lot of time reading this stuff and understanding it.
I think we also help in that there are some things that we do break. Like, for example, the clip of the rabbi in New York, that was not something that was circulating online. I was able to find that. There's also the importance of sifting through what is actually important news that's going around, because Lord knows it's information overload every day.
Yes. So and important things get tucked away. Like, okay, now they're coming for our THC and our hemp. Well, you know, little things that most people aren't going to catch. Like, I feel like, yeah, we do a good job of pointing out some interesting tidbits of information.
And as a partner, you know, you also do your part to make sure that you pull me back from getting caught up in stories that really aren't necessary to the mission that we're trying to push forward.
I'll remind you that when you're being mean to me about it next time.
Hey, you're mean to me too, but hey.
No, you just take it personal that I don't want to talk about some of this stuff that you want to talk about on your pontification.
Hey, that's why I save it for Saturday, which I am saving. Yes, I am. For those of you wondering in the chat, fuck you.
That's my life. That is what my life is like. For anybody who wants to know, that's my life.
That's not true. Sometimes it is.
Oh my God, it's true.
For those who are curious about the Kash Patel story, I will talk about it on Saturday. That is a very fucked up story, to say the least, but not at all surprising, because this is how the Zios operate. Kash Patel, I believe, is honeypotted. And I do believe that the woman that he's with is probably part of intelligence. I can't prove it, but I have the legal right to say it, despite what they will have you believe. M. Goat with the 5 Canadian A. Catholic Church and mosques give out baby formula and more. Also, can Peter do a Nick impression? Nick who? You're going to have to be specific, M. Goat.
Yeah, we need a more different.
You don't have to do another super chat, but just put it, whatever it is in the chat. You let me know what you want.
Yeah, you don't need to do another super chat, but I'm not sure.
Are you talking about Nick Fuentes? Is that that you want me to do a Nick Fuentes? I don't even know.
I don't know that's not thing.
Carson Cruz with the $10. Thank you so much. Your voices matter. So does yours. We all matter. I know people think that some matter more than others. Certainly Israelis believe that. But we all have a role to play. We all have a relevant opinion that can be shared. Maybe not Michael Tracy, but that's, for another day. JG with the $5. Israel is the tail wagging the dog. Epstein said Trump was the dog that hasn't barked. Jen, I have to tell you, and I was listening to it on my drive back from Mobile the other day. Wag the dog on second listening / viewing is insanely relevant to everything that's going on today.
I love that movie so.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Well, I remember seeing it in the theater when it first came out. I was living in San Antonio at the time, and I remember going to the movie theater and watching that. And so I don't even know what year that was. I mean, it was
97.
What year was it?
97.
Okay. So it's before weapons of mass destruction. It's before that stuff happened, right? So, but I remember sitting in that theater, and there were things that happened in that movie, and I was the only person laughing out loud. Like, nobody else was finding it funny like I was. Nobody else was laughing at certain points. Like, they were laughing at some stuff, but not. I just, I knew at that point that I was going to have to be a pretty alone person in a lot of this way in this world, because they were not seeing it.
Thankfully, you're not as alone as you once were. That's right. Drew, Kelly, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
For the $50. In 2019, Ari Ben, Spacey accuser and husband of Norway princess, unalived himself on Christmas. That same day, Spacey released a vid on social media as Frank Underwood, where he said, "Kill him with kindness." I felt like that was interesting. Let me tell you guys, if you remember, when Spacey was basically excommunicated following what had happened during the Me Too movement, and he started popping up with interviews, or we'll just say diatribes, in Frank Underwood character, there was something a little unsettling about that, to say the least. And now that you mention it, yes, it is interesting how there were so many accusers against Kevin Spacey, and yet none of it stuck. I wonder why. And as you saw earlier, I think you know why. JG with the $5 again. Not just hog status. Israel became a wild boar. Yes, wild boars. There is hunting season in Florida specifically for wild boars.
There's hunting right out, actually, this direction. This house backs up to a wildlife, a game management place, and we hear gunshots during the day. So like they're hunting, and what they're hunting here right now, I believe it's deer, but this area is very commonly deer and wild boar hunting.
No surprise. JG with the $2. Gaza is worse than Laos. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, certainly Agent Orange, among other things that took place in Laos and Cambodia, in Vietnam, and all over Southeast Asia. What we did to that part of the world, all because, again, there is this idea that capitalism needs to reign supreme in every corner of the globe, and that is simply not true. But part of the reason why is because the whole concept behind capitalism is that it's the only form of government that can work, or that lifts people out of poverty. But as we know, it's not true. And that's why you just have to destroy and kill people to try to keep it hegemonic, I guess.
Okay, so they're chatting about where I am. Guys, I am currently in Georgia. I am not near Athens. I am actually closer to Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm really close to the border. I'm in Northwest Georgia. And I am planning on relocating, so I don't have to be in Florida anymore.
Hala Hamed, thank you so much for the $9.99.
Thank you, Hala.
Really appreciate it. And finally, one more time this evening, Texas Grown with the $10. But they got to eat. You guys are great. You're great, and we appreciate your support.
Thank you, Texas Grown.
Like we said,
my son's Texas born.
Yeah, for a long time, they've been able to get away with hell on earth. Probably not for much longer.
No.
I will see you guys on Saturday. In the meantime, smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things that we ask you to do. Thank you for hanging with us tonight.
And
what? Am I missing something?
Well, I'm just going to say, so guys, go over and head over to Punch Up Pod. They're live right now. Go over to Punch Up Pod, hang with us over there with Pat and Lila, and give them some love.
And make sure you're subscribed on Rumble. Revolutionary change on Rumble. We love you all. We appreciate you all. I will see you Saturday. And
Free Palestine.
Good night, guys.